Welcome to the lower bracket round one of Aurora series Fall Valor. My name is Lil Hoppa and I'm joined here by Ari Casts.
Hello, hello, everyone. Great to see you all here. And we should have a solid matchup of Valorant for you guys today. A best of three, if you guys don't know. And this one, we're going to start off with the lowers right now. So it's not going to be, those teams that are fighting to get in the grand finals just quite yet. We're going to have to work our way there. And right now, the bracket is going to say that this is University of Waterloo White and UC Bearcats Violet.
Yeah, so this is going to be a really exciting game we have set up for y'all. So both these teams did unfortunately lose their games last week, with the Bearcats having a very, very close matchup with the Conestoga Condors Game Changers team, went OT into that map three. Waterloo did take a little bit more of a rough loss to the St. Clair Saints last week, but they are going to duke it out head to head this week. And we could switch into the map picks for this upcoming match, and we can get into what we're going to see.
Yeah, I did have the privilege of playing against one of the teams during this season. I got to play against University of Waterloo White, and I do expect to see a sunset coming in here just based off of how they played it in the group stage. But we're going to start off with Ascent being banned, which that goes to tell you what their type of play style is going to be. It's probably more towards those wider maps. You're probably going to see a Pearl if they're banning that defaulty type map like Ascent.
Yeah, and then the next ban we are going to see is from the UC Bearcats. They are banning Abyss. Can't blame them. Not many people know how to play that map yet. A little bit complicated to play in a competitive setting. But we are going to move into our pick from Waterloo. They did pick Sunset, as you said.
Hey. Yep, I didn't look before, I promise. I didn't look before, I just went off of experience, got the pick right. But if I have to flip a coin and guess the other one, I don't kn I don't really know. I really have to leave that up to pure speculation at that point. No results really to show for that one.
All right, so we're going to be seeing the UC Bearcats on defense for that Sunset pick. And speaking of the Bearcats, they are going to be picking Haven. Waterloo will be attacking, so that is going to be a really, really exciting map. I love watching Haven.
Yeah, that makes me just feel like this next ban here is going to be fine, but we'll have to wait and see as we get into it. I mean, two maps already very, very open, very wide, very almost mid heavy as well. And there's the Pearl ban. So just coming into that rotation, a little bit newer, teams still remembering how to play, especially in the new meta. No surprise that Pearl is banned, but would have liked to see that. And hopefully we will see that later on in this tournament as series progresses.
All right, our final ban is going to be from the Bearcats. We are going to see Split get banned, which means our decider is going to end up being that map of Bind. The University of Waterloo is going to be defending on this map, so hopefully we'll get to see that third map. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, but like you mentioned, I believe it was off stream. You do have to talk about the ranks of these teams. One of them is a average ascendant, I believe, and the other is average plat. And of course, we don't see ranks here, right? Everyone they have to show up on the day, make sure that they can perform well. But if you go to maybe the depth of the playbook or maybe just the confidence these players have, or even just raw experience, you might have to look at one side compared to the other. But that's why we play the game. That's why we have the best of three today. One of these teams is going to show up, perform for us very well. The other, well, they're going to be left done and dusted going home. Better luck next time.
Absolutely, like you said, the stakes could not be higher for this match because whatever team loses this is going to be out of the entire tournament, which, just getting to this playoff stage is already a huge, huge accomplishment. But the stakes are at an all-time high. So, like you said, maybe we'll see an upset from the Bearcats. Maybe we'll see a stomp from Waterloo. Who knows? We're just gonna have to wait and get into it to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be fun to watch here. And again, not to beat the dead horse here, but I have played against one of the teams this season. And so my insight for you guys, the viewers, is well, for maybe this University Waterloo White side, maybe something that they could be watching out for or something that the opponents could take advantage of is their lurks. From what I've noticed, it seems like that's the shakier part of their plans, but their hard executes are just solid. You can tell the protocols are there, everything that's like pieced into action. You can just grab it and take it for an extra round win. That's just things that they have worked on. You can really tell. So I think if any way to steal this map away, especially map one, is going to be maybe those lurker roles, especially with that sentinel.
Absolutely. So, I mean, like we talked about with Waterloo having, this 3rd seed in the entire tournament position, um, it looks like we are probably going to be seeing a rock solid team here, rock solid defense going into this first map.
And I do believe that we said Agent Select is almost ready, so we'll be able to get to see that one shortly. But I mean, coming up on this first map, you have to assume that we're going to see some pretty traditional things that are current to the normal meta, which is that neon and the clove versus omen. Still teams liking to play aggressive here, which is why you're also going to see maybe that gecko, maybe the breach. And I mean, I know I'm saying it as it's showing up, but that's it's staples of how you play sunset.
Definitely. I mean, what I am really looking forward to seeing here, though, is we're seeing this Rays versus this Neon. So, as we know, we are in the last legs of that Neon meta that we've been in for a little too long, in my opinion. So, I am really excited to see how having this Rays is going to work versus having a Neon. How do the play styles differentiate between the two teams, especially with, having Cypher trips to take care of, for example. That's where a Rays might be a little more beneficial than a Neon, but a Neon might be able to take a little more space. So, I'm really looking forward to this. Ari, do you have a preference over like Rays versus Neon?
I mean, it really just comes down to how these teams use it, right? If you have that neon, you're going to be enabling those fast rotates, which means you can get a little bit earlier off of aggression earlier, excuse me, when you're on that defensive side. So all these going to be able to maybe take a fight A main, rotate back, get a fight B main, things like that. But I'm also curious about the Sentinels. And, with that box being removed, B main being reworked, there's definitely differences in that Cypher setup. So do you think there was potential for these teams to whip out maybe a different Sentinel? Or do you have any insight as to why they're still sticking with the Cypher?
Yeah, I mean, Cypher's tried and true. Every Sentinel player, myself included, we all know how to play Cypher on Sunset. However, I do truly think that the changes to the map, especially on that B site where you used to have those unbreakable Cypher trips, I think they do kind of open the doors to potentially playing a Killjoy, for example, rather than a Cypher. Or if you want to get a little unconventional, you could even run a Deadlock alongside a Cypher or a Killjoy. So I think that the map changes are really, really healthy for the Sentinel meta. That being said, we are going to still be seeing the very classic two ciphers. I'm a little more interested in the difference in the initiators being run. We have that Gecko breach versus Nova breach. So I think that there's opportunity to deny information for the side of Waterloo, considering that the Bearcats do not have a super hard recon. They just have that Gecko, which offers a little bit of information with that Izzy, but not quite the same level as a Sova, for example.
Yeah, you have to wonder almost if maybe the Gecko was the better pick with the breach for the Neon comp because they're just going to be brawling it down and the extra flash might actually help them out. But we'll see how this goes as we hop into round number one of map one. Here it looks like it's going to be start off towards mid.
University of Waterloo is working up mid, like you said. The Bearcats did leave mid quite open. We are seeing that Gecko kind of holding things down. Frosty not quite able to connect those bolts. Is able to get one, gets two, gets traded out by Vab though.
And you have a few more additional shots here. This one, though, a trade back to even up the numbers, but Peaches manages to grab an additional pick, and that one will give it right back to the defenders here. You have the bomb going down here, but now one of these players, or maybe both, is going to have to make a play because you know that this 2v3, if it's going to be those pistol fights from long range, it's probably going to go for an even one-to-one trade, which is why you're going to see Peaches setting up for this util, and it looks like the defense has a solid start to this retake.
Last player standing.
Vab does get taken out by Hannah. It's all down to Castley for the University of Waterloo. Bullets not quite able to connect. Does end up getting the first. Can't get the second though, and that is a round on the board for the UC Bearcats.
Love explosions.
Well, there you go. I mean, pistol rounds, they always tell you how, at least fundamentally, the first half is going to go, right? Obviously, when those guns get in the picture, it's a whole different thing, but a nice strat, right? Just going up and saying, okay, we're just going to fight for this space, and they managed to get it, but unfortunately, that retake just too strong. The trades were there, and that's really important when you kind of go to these competitions, right? It's about making as little mistakes as possible, and right now, at least for the first round, the Bearcats have come out on top in that regard.
Definitely. I think Frosty being able to get those first 2 picks of the round top mid was just huge for the Bearcats. Speaking of the Bearcats, we are going to be seeing Peaches closing that market door, Waterloo running up mid, potentially getting ready to flood into market here. Peaches has the stun ready to go. Waterloo slows their takedown. Are they aware that they're getting pinched from the B side?
Well, I think they are now. Hannah's trying to get out of dodge or at least get a kill, but full blinded, staring at the map, and that one's not going to go too well for your health. That one is going to be a gun donated on over to the opposing side, and although there is that additional pressure, you can now make this a chance to capitalize, but no. Peaches manages to grab an additional pick towards the market, and just like that, the numbers advantage is gone. Anything that they could have had to maybe speed up this hit is kind of slowed down for a moment, but they're still going to decide to commit here as Aldi goes back sight, sprayed down by the Spectre. The plant at least faked here as pressure needs to be applied more towards sight. Here we go, additional more shots right now, and Castley goes down and feeling it. It's going to have to feel it in this 1v3, and well, they are spotted out. Reload on the Bulldog with just 3 bullets is not going to be enough to take out these 3 remaining players. Frosty with a nice headshot kill, and that'll be 2-0 for the Bearcats.
Honestly, not a terrible round for Waterloo. They were able to get, I believe that was 2 guns off of the side of the Bearcats, so able to do some damage to the economy of the Bearcats. I am curious to see how they're going to play out this full buy round, though. This is the first round where we're going to be seeing some rifles coming out from both teams. We're going to be seeing Vandals, we're going to be seeing Phantoms. It looks like they might potentially be leaning towards mid again, however, the UC Bearcats also look like they are leaning towards mid at the start of the round, so we're already seeing some early adaptations going on here.
Yeah, I was just about to say, they keep going mid, and well, eventually your opponent's going to read into it. Aldi, though, still getting the first pick here, and that's going to make it a lot tougher for this retake, especially now with the bonus of guns from the Bearcats, but just like that, Clove, and Clove is their name, will be the person to get an equalizer pick on this round.
Yes, I believe that Clove is Big Papa Clyde. If I remember correctly, we had some problems with seeing their name last time too. Um, However, I digress. It looks like we're seeing almost a side flip here. We're seeing the Bearcats have now pushed their way into B main, almost into T side spawn, as Waterloo is now pushing out onto market, onto the B site.
You have to wonder here, this defense has a plan, right? Like, surely, if you fight for mid, you are having a plan to either lose that space or gain that space. And when you do lose that space, they're going to extend towards the extremities of the site at least. But here you go. It's an extension from Aldi, 2 additional kills. And that's where that crispy aim and the neon slides coming on in. One more to refresh for you. And there's an additional shot to make it Aldi with 4 on the round. Jiyoung as well with 1. But that's a round for the opposition.
It's a great round from Waterloo, and like you were talking about, Aldi's aim, just so beautiful, so crispy. I'm really liking this neon pick, truly, from the side of Waterloo. I think that having that neon there and having Aldi on the neon just allows them to be able to take so many aggressive fights, and they're just getting so much space. I did find it very interesting, though, that from the Bearcats, you know, they pushed into B main and then gave up on that space, didn't capitalize on that to try to pinch Waterloo after they had taken the B site.
That's what I was kind of imagining as well, but you know, sometimes the cards just don't fall the way you expect here. Aldi having that overdrive available, deciding whether or not to use it, and will do so. So Aldi going into the site here, firing the cam, doesn't get it, but there's shots that are just going clean from Sprout, and they're going to pick up a solid kill that they need to for this round. Castley as well, though, grabbing 2 of their own, I believe, and now this makes it a 4v3 in favor of the attackers.
Bearcats prepping for a retake. Vav is able to take out Peaches. It is now a 2v4 for the Bearcats. Waterloo playing on site, not giving any space up. That Dizzy is going to get, I believe that was just 1. Castley able to get a 3rd on the round. Feeling it, closing the round out to get that 5th and final kill, and that is a 2nd round on the board for the University of Waterloo.
I mean, we did know that the pistol round was important here, but we also had some question marks for when those guns did get in the picture. And once it's like, okay, Waterloo have finally taken their turn, they've had the guns, they can officially execute their plan towards mid, and that's when you're starting to see it work. So I do want to see that adaptation coming out from the other side, right? Those Bearcats, or the Bearcats, excuse me, are making the adaptation. But you get my point, right? Where everybody is just trying to match that play style from the other team, and well, you can only find value so much.
Castley on the lurk mid. Potentially gonna run into Hannah here.
Ooh.
Able to get that pick. Falls back. Nice and safe fight. Oh, Caster Curse potentially going to peak. Big Papa Clyde over here. Speaking of Big Papa Clyde, they are working their way into tiles and
Here.
oh, the timing!
Yeah, they saw it though. But there's one third mid. Wait, both players or both teams saw each player lurking through that mid tiles area. It just so happens that the Bearcats came out on top. Reach Aftershock to deny this plant as well. As the stun, Peaches just wants this bomb to not go down, whatever they can do, and the Flood retake will commence. Frosty, Sheriff shots, not quite gonna land, but at least Big Papa Fight, at least with one, make that 2 and 3. Now, 2 more to remain in this clutch situation, but unfortunately not. Aldi with 3 on the round and a big win for Waterloo.
Like you said, big win for Waterloo. However, not to discount the Bearcats because they did a pretty good job that round in terms of trying to damage Waterloo's eco that is starting to spiral a little bit out of control. You know, they were able to get, I believe, 3 in that round with only Sheriff, so really commendable effort from them. We are going to be seeing Waterloo. I love how they're switching things up. Looks like we're potentially taking the bomb towards the A side. The Bearcats potentially getting ready to aggress B main over here.
Yeah, and I like this play towards B main, but I wish they had maybe a little bit of recon, and maybe that's where you start to see the weakness of their comp, not being able to have anything to go for a trap play in that sense. But it looks like the attackers have decided, hey, we're going to take this A space for free since you're not contesting it in any which way. So that's an insert into elbow. That's going to come to fruition later. We know that that's going to be a pick that decides the round, but just the timing's not right yet. We have to let it simmer. We have to let them cook a little bit.
Waterloo shifting back towards the A site as their Neon is able to work all the way up tiles. It looks like the Bearcats are aware of this though, as they are beginning to rotate over. Sprout looking for a pick before the rest of her team plays retake. Dodges the breach stun. So Aldi sees to Link.
Looks like heavy stuns and flashes, and yeah, the Flood retake comes on through again, but this time the attackers, well, they've seen it before, and that's 3 kills for them. Make it maybe one more here, but no, Hannah and Big Papa Clyde, they're both grabbing important picks in this round, and now Feeling It is left in a 1v1. Can just run away and is gonna do so. Pops the Omen from the shadows. Will get away, but go CT because there is a little bit of time. Just not enough to get the defuse. Big Papa Clyde goes down, and very slim margin, but Waterloo still come out on top.
I love that out of Feeling It, and this is why I love Omen players. You know, you have to get so creative and be so smart with that utility, and I think that is a great example of how to effectively use Omen's kit. I mean, very, very creative use of the ult there to dodge that Clove ult coming out from Big Papa Clyde, so applause to you, Feeling It. Played beautifully.
You might like Omen players, but I'd have to ask Big Papa Clyde if they like Omen players in that scenario, because I bet you it's going to be a different answer. But, you know, it's all a tall tale, right? We've left that in the past, and we are going to see actually a similar strat, though, with the Neon being inserted towards A. Now, granted, it's different trips, so you're not going to be able to claim as much space, but you will be able to break the trip earlier if you want to fake that presence. We'll see how this changes up as this market aggression is coming through.
Waterloo able to get out a lot of util from the Bearcats, and Aldi is going to get that first pick onto the Cypher. Can they get the second onto Frosty, though? And it looks like Waterloo is going to be capitalizing off of that pick onto the Bearcats' Cypher. Getting the bomb down on that A site. 4v5 retake for the Bearcats. Castley. This timing.
Oh, I feel like we've seen it too many times, and it's only round 6, but there you go. There's the first pick for Castley, and the spray down is good for the second as well, 5v2, and, well, the Neural Theft should ping out the remaining 2 locations. Frosty trying to do as much as they can with just a Sheriff, and now Big Papa Clyde with the Spectre. Still might be able to get one, but unfortunately not. Vav will clean that up, and it feels like the Bearcats have found themselves in retake scenarios a lot more than what at least we would want them to be.
Definitely, with their comp, playing for a hard retake is definitely not a terrible idea. They have so much utility for stalling and for retaking, just between that Gecko, the Breach, the Raise. It does look like they're getting a little bit frazzled though, because Waterloo's just kind of able to
We must
work
shore up
them
our
at the start of every round. They're able to get util out, they're able to get so much information, and they just are able to find a gap so quickly.
And a nice adaptation though, right? I don't think that Dizzy was there before, so at least changing it up, trying to fight for A main control, but of course we all know what that means. If the stack's towards A and they're fighting for A, hey, let's go pivot B and commit there. And this is going to be a pinch from B main because no aggression there means the Cypher can walk on up as free as they would like, letting their Cypher work through the trips through the cam because they know Cypher's going to be there, right? It's been playing A, and now Castley gets to pick on a big Papa Clyde, opening up the site a little bit more. Jumps, though, and maybe jumping to conclusions a little bit too early there. I think they had a free site, but a 3v3 when the dust settles, and still, honestly, the Bearcats have the advantage.
Yeah, I mean, both teams have some very powerful ultimates for this round. Curious to see if Waterloo's going to go to play close point with that Sova ult. Vav able to get the first. Peach is gonna rip that Rolling Thunder. Not stunning the market players though, as Aldi is able to take her down, and it all comes down to Frosty in this 1v2. Wingman gets on the defuse. Waterloo players are not in tradable positions right now. That Neon Stun is going to hit.
Oh, it's so close, but there's the first few. Frosty, though, runs out of bullets, and you mentioned non-tradable places, and that's actually where the Bearcats started to fall in that round, because you saw the Breach all of them at the Rolling Thunder go towards Market, even if the players weren't stunned. If they both went together from the defense, it would have been an even 2v2 with at least one attacker stunned. They might have been able to get those trades, make it a 1v1, at least a better chance than having to peek into a crossfire with the bomb being down, but when it's all said and done, I mean, it's still Waterloo with 6 solid rounds here.
Yeah, I mean, things are starting to get pretty out of control. The Bearcats are forced onto a save round yet again. Waterloo taking advantage of this and just kind of aggressing that A main. Hannah going for a little bit of a risky play. Does not find anyone with that Sheriff. Is she aware that Aldi and the rest of her team are already worked up elbow? So that Rolling Thunder is going to come out from the attackers, clearing out that A site.
I mean, a good paint shell from Hannah there, but unfortunately, it's just not enough with how many people from the attacking side are there. Peach is on the flank this time, and well, you got a Sheriff and you got a Trip in your way. Sure, you are doubled up, but Sheriffs, it's going to be a tall task here to at least do a solid amount of damage. Maybe you can do some. Here's the first contact, but Castley takes you right on down. Big Papa Clyde at least with 2, so that's something. But 3 players still remaining to go, and maybe you're just hoping to farm up those ultimate orbs. Maybe grab a gun and go, and they're going to choose the latter option. You're going to make this like fast food and get out of Dodge.
Looks like we are going to be seeing a 7th round on the board for the University of Waterloo. I mean, on the bright side though, the Bearcats should have money for a full buy next round. So hopefully we're going to be able to see some kind of change, something happen. I'm hoping that maybe the Bearcats will call for a timeout here.
I think a timeout would be nice. Well, yeah. There you go. All right, I'll leave it to you. You can tell the future. You may as well tell us what the end of the game is. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hold on, let me pull the script up real quick. I have it on my computer somewhere.
Really? They gave it to you on like digital? They made me like go search for it in like a treasure hunt. It's like on a scroll written from the 1970s, or I don't know. Just making up dates. I don't know why they would use a scroll in the 1970s. Anyway, point being, I think that maybe we could see an adaptation come through with this timeout, and I think that it is a trap play. I think that, with this contacting sort of style that they've been doing with the Neon Waterloo, that is, I think that you can capitalize on maybe a slide, throw a Dizzy, throw some sort of Thrash in the picture since you have that ultimate available. Then you get that initial pick. You can use your Neural Theft, and sure, it's going to cost you some ultimates, but right now, what is the price that you are willing to pay for a round win? You might not be able to snowball everything, but maybe it helps you get your next few ultimates online. That's my 2 cents. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not seeing too much changing from the Bearcats, which again, hopefully this timeout is going to be them calling something to change, but, they half push out of one site, right? They don't fully commit to taking all the space. They kind of push out just for info. They leave their Cypher. They leave Sprout alone on the other site. And then Waterloo's just kind of able to see that, okay, they're pushed out on one side. The Cypher site's the weak site. Let's just go there.
You always hope that things go as you draw it up, but it never really is. Are they expecting Aldi to go running through market by themselves with their neural theft, or the overdrive, excuse me? And, well, they do so and they grab one pick, but Sprout has their neural theft online. That's what I was trying to say, and they're not going to use it just quite yet. They're going to maybe save it for this retake, which a 4v4 is going to favor this defense since they have the Thresh, although the Hunter's Fury is available. Big pop of Clyde going down, grabbing one for themselves. Hannah with two, and there you go. The retake, although both ultimates are revealed, that's how they drew it up. That's how they planned it, and it goes in their favor.
Right round for the Bearcats. I love to see that. You know, like I was talking about earlier, they have so much great utility for retaking. You know, you have that Raze, you have that Breach, you have the Gecko. You just have so many abilities to just harass the other team, essentially, and to just do a super, super fast, aggressive retake with flashes. And that's exactly what we saw. You know, they let Sprout, their Cypher, kind of chill on B site, try to get a pick before getting out to do retake, and they retook. They took advantage of the fact that they had numbers thanks to Sprout's work, and they just went for a fast flood retake back out onto the site. And I think that is what they need to be doing this whole half against Waterloo.
I know it's one round, and I know that it might be considered a fluke here for Waterloo, but maybe something to think about as well when they don't have that additional mid-pressure coming in when the retake is coming in for the Bearcats. You're putting all your eggs in one basket, and you're kind of forced to play for sight there. You don't have any win conditions that you're relying on, even if one of them does go wrong. So maybe that's something to think about, but still a solid half from them so far, with 7-3 being the score. And this is the first time that Waterloo hasn't scored top mid, and it might be their last. Hannah will go and grab a pick for themselves. Aldi will fall. And a 5v4 when the dust settles, leaving that Clove ultimate beautiful for Pop of Clyde. They won't even need to use it here as they take down Castley, and definitely throwing a wrench in the plans of Waterloo here.
It's now going to be a 3v5 for Waterloo. Like you mentioned, their Breach is 1 HP. So they're regrouping towards that A site, you know. Castley did not die in vain, though. She was able to get some information. Probably able to determine that there was only 1 or 2 over on the A site. Waterloo capitalizing on this as they go and re-clear elbow. Knowing that Papa Clyde probably repositioned here. They're just barely gonna miss each other, though.
And there still is a world where this defense realizes what's happening, and they will. This is going to be tough for the attackers. Feeling it. Manages to grab one, but that's all she wrote. It's Big Papa Clyde with 3 on the round, and almost 1 round away from finding themselves in the ideal half after that timeout, right? Remember, they popped the timeout, and they've won back-to-back rounds after that. So that's something to look at and say, good job. Now the question is, will it stay that way when they flip sides? And of course, with this final round in the half.
Yeah, I mean, the Bearcats being able to already secure at minimum a 4-8 half is really, really great for them. Ideally, they can get it up to a 5-7 half here, and we're going to be seeing a really, really competitive game. I love how they're switching up where Sprout is setting up. Sprout back onto the B site. As Waterloo, it looks like they're going to be going for a 4-man rush out of B main, with Castley lurked up tiles, hopefully catching those rotates happening top mid.
And this is something we talked about, though, having that heavy, site hit presence with that late mid play. It might give them a few more things to have as a win condition. Now the Raze ultimate comes on through for the retake. Here's Hannah, showstopper into the middle of the closed smoke. It doesn't find anything. Castley, though, reveals her hand, and that's going to mean that everybody is actually flooding through spawn as the fake is the play. Feeling it uses the From the Shadows once again. This time it's to completely swap the bomb to the other side. And this is a great play. It's going to open them up, and it's essentially baited out one ultimate of that showstopper.
Played really well by Waterloo, honestly. The Bearcats, though, are prepped for this retake. Are they aware that Castley is walking up top mid right now, though? Oh. As Castley is able to get the first, get that neural threat going to spot out the rest of the defenders.
Big Papa Clyde, how have you just gotten two there? It seemed like everything was lined up perfectly for the attackers, but everyone falls on down, and now they'll have a second chance at life, second chance to win the round for their team, and they will. Unfortunately, they might fall, but it's all good because they've won the round. The half is over, and a 5-7 half. The defenders certainly have woken up, have found what makes Waterloo tick, but now is it too late? Is it too little too late? Because 5-7 is the half. You'd expect them to go crazy on this attack, though, looking at their comp.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very, very explosive comp. Very similar comps, really. I mean, we're looking at two very, very similar comps, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how Hannah is going to be able to capitalize off of Frosty and Peach's util in particular. Looks like we are going to be seeing the Bearcats setting up outside of B. They're going to be sending Sprout on a lurk towards A. You know, pretty standard pistol round strategy for attackers on Sunset.
Yeah, and with those trips, you're always curious, are my ranked teammates going to trip A even though we're going B? And the answer this time, at least, is yes for this matchup. A few pre-fired shots from mid, but mid control immediately gained for the attackers. And instead of the loud, fast, break the door default that Waterloo is doing, these attackers are just walking right up into this top smoke. They want to explode on out. And feeling it's going to use that paranoia early, as this is a pinch towards B main, though. Something we haven't quite seen just quite yet, and well, it's not going to pay off. Maybe there's a reason we haven't seen it too often, but Sprout with at least a chance to steal away the round here, along with Peaches. 2v5, one player tagged up from Waterloo, but it will be tough. And you'd have to assume that this retake is going to go strong. A few shots don't quite land, but Vav able to get one. And now that is a flawless pistol there for Waterloo. They had a retake plan, and it went according to plan.
I mean, slight misplay from the Bearcats there. But Cassie, though, my goodness, she has been doing God's work this whole game. Those 4 right clicks in a row to get to. It's just insane by Boba.
You sure that's a classic? Not a Bucky? Although, honestly...
I wish my right clicks did that.
Honestly, I think the classic in that scenario probably would have been better than a right click from a Bucky. If you know, you know.
Bring back old Bucky meta.
Please don't. Well, old Bucky meta with now current Neon meta, now you're just asking for some trouble. Waterloo, they've won the pistol round, and looks like they're going to try and continue this trend of going upwards after the half with those additional guns in the picture. And here's just a hard execute. Hannah wants a piece of the action, and Cassie will gladly give it to her. Spectre spray, it's not perfect, but it does do a solid chunk of damage here. Spouts out an additional one, or why are my bullets not hitting? But eventually they do, and there's a clean on up. Cassie with 3, and the sight anchor doing what the sight anchor should do.
It's a Cypher masterclass from Cassie on how to hold a sight down right now. She's able to just play off of her trips and her utility so flawlessly, and even just the placement of the trips here, not getting too overzealous with peeking things, knowing when to fall back, not wanting to give up any guns to the Bearcats. I mean, like I said, just a masterclass, honestly.
Yeah, and that was kind of one of the things that we were touching on before the series started was the lurks. Maybe that's going to be the weaker point that you can try and take down, but Castley is just on point today. Maybe they heard me and said, okay, I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to this in their gameplay, and it is perfect. I mean, if you want to know how to lurk in your games, look at this Cypher player, because they know what they're doing, and you just need to copy that. And, if we could copy everybody perfectly, we'd all be tense, but here we are.
Looks like Waterloo holding some pretty aggressive angles. I love how they've taken this deep A main space. The Bearcats, though, leaning towards B side again. Hannah's paint shell's not quite able to take out any of Casley's trips.
Is that an operator? Is that what that was?
I believe it's an outlaw.
Well, we would have found our answer anyway. There you go. 140 to the body there. And 1 shot fired. No kill gained, but still a lot of damage, and that's tier breach. Although it's not going to be the first person that's trying to go into the site and go down. Maybe now they are, right? Maybe they're trying to bait, but wait, there's a timing in market here. Feeling it. Paranoia, the stun, everybody goes swinging towards each other, but no push back into mid from the defense. They'll just keep them corralled in there for the time being.
30 seconds left.
Now, if I'm Waterloo, I'm hopefully going to try to punish whatever lurker is happening. In this case, it's Sprout. Maybe get that Neural Thrust online because of that. We are seeing an A execute coming out from the side of the Bearcats. 15 seconds left. They are going to have to rush onto the site and get the bomb down. 10 seconds left. Can they do it? Can they get the bomb down?
Oh, Aldi's still alive. Wait, and the bomb is canceled? That's it? That's a round win for the defense? It doesn't matter what happens at these gunfights. I mean, it does in terms of economy, but look at that. A round win for Waterloo, stolen away by heroics from Aldi.
Oh my, Aldi. Yeah, Aldi is just really the MVP there. And that's gonna really put a dent in the Bearcats' economy. I mean, losing that buy round is just not great. And on the other end of things, Waterloo's economy is now in a phenomenal place. We're seeing that operator coming out from Aldi and we taking an aggressive pick A main here. We are seeing Castle bonusing a Spectre though, which is interesting. Probably just in case this op pick or op buy goes wrong. A lot of heavy util from the Bearcats towards the A site as they work their way into elbow. Waterloo is going to have to give this up just because they do have the operator on Aldi, then gets smoked off, and they're now forced to play 5v5 retake.
You are going to be favored in this scenario, right? I believe you only have one Spectre when it goes in terms of that bonus. Everything else is a force up in terms of that buy. Vav is going to go down, though, as the extension towards CT works well. They grab a gun, they get out, and that's actually not what you want to see from the defense. Although they will have this paranoia that connects on it. I believe it's 3. It's a solid paranoia. Nobody pushes in off of it. Big Papa Glide with one here, and Aftershock, it's going to be good here, but it looks like the vault line as well. Solid by Peaches. And when the pinstripes on the kill feed are done and dusted for, it's going to be the Bearcats on top this time.
Great round from the Bearcats. I mean, definitely needed that in terms of economy, and also just to kind of break the momentum that Waterloo was building up, winning those first 3 rounds of the half. You know, I think if you're the Bearcats, probably feeling the pressure now. Waterloo was able to bring it up to double digits that last round. In a really great place now economically, though. I mean, Waterloo's forced onto this very weird buy. Castle is going to have a Phantom, so hopefully they can do something. And being on this weird buy, they're going for a very risky play here, running it down mid into tiles. And the Bearcats are actually holding this. They are not taking advantage of this.
I don't think the calm was there. They were like, okay, I'm holding your tiles, but everyone else started looking away when they were more exposed to the angle than the person holding the angle. A little bit interesting. Maybe something to think about as they go forward here, but the first pick is still gained from Bearcats either way. They'll take that, and they are tripped down. That's a lot of spam fire. And Vav, honestly, unlucky that they only found one there. Maybe with a second here, as that Owl Drone will tag onto another. Castley with that hero rifle does manage to get an extra one. And now swinging into the mosh will go down regardless of the gunfight result. But now Castley will fall. Sprout, their counterpart, is doing some solid work. And now a 3v2 goes for the attackers, but still possible. And there you go. It's a Hunter's Fury and Fault Line combo here. Fault Line in response, but it only is one tag out of the Vault Plant. I'm not quite sure I like that Hunter's Fury, but maybe they believe that this is just that much more doable for them to go in and steal away this round with.
Bearcats are in a pretty good spot here. Man advantage, they have guns. Waterloo players are very nice. Doubled up though. Jiyoung able to get Frosty, but Peach is able to trade out their mirror, and that is another round on the board for the Bearcats. I mean, 7-10. It's a really close scoreline, so I'm really happy to see that the Bearcats have been doing so good after they called that timeout in the first half.
Speaking of timeouts, I would say that, honestly, Waterloo could use one right now, right? You lose this one, you get knocked back down onto an eco or something a little bit weird, maybe. And if that happens, right, you know, you're looking at just a 1-round deficit, although they do have this Neon ult, so maybe they start to change things up, trying to use that on eco, but still feels very, very weird how, honestly, their whole entire strategy has kind of changed ever since they lost those first few rounds. Now you're starting to slow it down a bit, and we're not seeing that punchy style that the Neon is so successful at.
I agree. I do appreciate that Waterloo is changing some things up, you know. They've stopped aggressing A main so much. Speaking of A main, the Bearcats are going to be working their way up through A main, leaving Sprouts on a lurk mid, potentially going to catch these rotators coming from the B site. Thrash coming out, clearing the site. It is a free site for Waterloo, who has opted to give the site up and play retake with their utility.
If I don't see an overdrive here, I'm going to be severely angry because I'm assuming that's what the plan is here. Feeling it goes down though. That's the lurk paying off. Sprout trying to pull a little bit of a copycat from the other half of what this game was looking like. Frosty there. Thrash will get sprayed down the second time it goes on out. And honestly, you might look to save here. It's a gamble, of course, because you're relying on maybe winning the next round, but they're still going to attempt to go for it, losing one more, and now it looks like it's even better, this situation, and maybe they should have saved as it's a team ace, a flawless one at that, and the Bearcats look alive.
Charges, check. Brakes.
This looks like a whole different team than what we were seeing in the first half. I'm loving this out of the Bearcats. I do, however, have to question if Waterloo is going to change anything up. Like you said last round, I think they could really use a timeout. We are going to be seeing what looks like a gamble stack here as they are forced onto this pretty rough save round of Sheriffs and Stingers.
Oh, I think it's going to be an overdrive with the fault line going in towards BU main. That's what I think is about to happen off the rip. Off of sound cue, at least. We'll see if it goes. Aldi, well, just going to get sprayed down. And maybe it should have been the blade. But either way, we're never going to know. Because Aldi just loses their life 0.2 seconds into the round. And, well, that's 2 ults used on an eco. So a big commitment from the Bearcats. But that is the price that they were willing to pay the first time to get that advantage in their favor. Now, Hannah will just fire this one towards CT spawn, making sure that everybody is not playing in some ratty corner or things like that. But now, I think if you're Waterloo, you just try and play exits here, try and just do a little bit more damage, maybe farm some ultords of the person you're closest to, but I think you call it a day after that. Hannah will punish you for the first time, and that make that Frosty 2 more, and big Papa Clyde to finish it all off. 9-10, and that 1 round deficit, like we prefaced, it seems to be the reality we're in.
We are going to be seeing that timeout getting called from, I believe that is the side of Waterloo. Um, but yeah, I mean, you talked about the ults being invested when the enemies were on an eco round, which I honestly don't hate that play because, we knew that Waterloo was going to have Sheriffs, going to have Stingers. They're going to have to go for something aggressive, something unconventional and unexpected. So we know that traditionally they have been playing a very heavy retake. Whether or not that was successful, we know that they've just been playing very, very heavy retakes. So by having that Rolling Thunder and that Showstopper to kind of clear the site, that's going to punish any players who might have been playing a little more aggressively to try to catch the Bearcats off guard.
Honestly, I think for the defenses here, I think you aggro mid towards the start of that round. You make sure that Lurk will not punish you. And you can see some pings over towards that market door. Maybe they're trying to focus something like that. But still, I think that grabbing that mid control is going to be a lot more beneficial because then if you're playing retake, right, you have additional avenues to come in from. Maybe your breach plays there, pops a rolling thunder, something of that sort. But you have that information. And right now, it's been a little bit of a struggle here for Waterloo, even with the Sova, which is a bit surprising.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like Waterloo, at least in the first half, was relying very heavily on Castley's lurks to get some kind of value, some kind of information, maybe an opening pick. Which unfortunately, when you're on the defense half, while you still can lurk and a sentinel lurk can be very, very beneficial, it's not quite as effective as it would be when you're attacking. It looks like we are having a bit of a technical problem. One of the players' PCs did unfortunately crash. So we are going to be taking a P10.
Well, I guess more time to have a timeout, right? more things to talk about or to overcook. You never know. Maybe it gets in their heads. Maybe they start worrying. You're icing the kicker, as they say in football. But honestly, here, I'm just excited to see how this end plays out because I think regardless of if you saw the first half or not of this game, just based off of seedings and maybe the records from these teams over the season, you're really happy with the result that this has produced so far.
Yeah, I mean, the Bearcats are definitely the underdogs in the situation, so they are putting up one heck of a fight for Waterloo. I mean, if you're Waterloo, maybe they weren't too concerned with this match, but they are.
They better be now.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, like we talked about, this is an average Plat 2 team versus an average Ascendant 2 team. I mean, we have Platinums and Ascendants on the side of the Bearcats compared to Ascendants, Immortals, and Diamonds on the side of Waterloo. So this, regardless of the outcome, like you said, even if Waterloo goes on to win the next 3 in a row, hypothetically, this is still an upset in my books.
Yeah, which also, leads you to believe what's going to happen in map two. Is there more potential? Whose map pick was this? You could kind of look back on that and say, well, this was actually Waterloo's side. And if they were brought this close on their own map pick, well, maybe that's something to think about. We'll get that information for you a little bit later. But, you know, these are just things kind of to focus on, and maybe you keep your mentality up, because you look at this, you say, okay, we were down, what, 10-4, and you bring it back 10-9, something like that. And this is absolutely the spot you want to be in here. You claw back your way from the first half. Now you're finding yourself doing the same thing in the second. Honestly, I could see even maybe the Bearcats just grabbing the next four and taking it home.
Definitely, it is really anyone's game, and I am looking at the map picks right now, and this actually is Waterloo's map pick. So things are not looking too hot. Hopefully, they were able to discuss some adaptations, discuss some new protocols to do for these remaining few rounds of this map. It does look like we are seeing some changes from the side of Waterloo, seeing a little bit less aggression even on the non-cipher site. Potentially just playing for some information here. Aldi prepped and ready to peek mid off of their breaches utility if needed. However, the Bearcats are opting to shift walk towards that A main, leaving Sprout to lurk for information bottom mid.
There's the classic, oh, they called the timeout. Let's sit and spawn and make sure they don't do anything goofy and catch us off guard with it. So I respect the play there. And now, given that space towards A main, no resistance, same as before, you're actually going to see the Bearcats most likely commit here. But oh, the one way from Castley and that Cypher swap over to the A site, something that we were kind of looking to see. And now it does pay off here, as you can stack that B side with fast rotate of Neon. Although the site is gained here for the Bearcats, Waterloo will have the number advantage as well as the alt economy.
Spike planted.
Bomb is going to go down. Like you said, Waterloo does have the man advantage. However, Aldi is at 1 HP, so they're going to have to potentially sacrifice themselves. Big Papa Clyde and Hannah, though, inserting themselves into A link. They do get punished by Vav and Castley. It's all left to Sprout in a 1v3 scenario. Feeling it, able to close the round out, getting that final pick. It is now 9-11. Waterloo able to get their first round in, I believe, 4 rounds in a row. 4 rounds in a row.
Yeah, with Waterloo, you could definitely tell that they thought, okay, if we put our Cypher on A, we are going to see the exact same replication of a strategy from the Bearcats as we did on our own attack half, right? They're thinking, okay, they're just going to contact up A main, take that space. But the whole point is, now you know that if you're Waterloo, if you allow for that to happen, you know the retake sequence that you've practiced time and time again. So by going for that, you have everybody in place, and you have the one way to sneak away an extra kill. That's how you play that retake. You have some sort of win condition that you're relying on to go your way, and it does, and then you're set up perfectly. But now, new round, new strategy maybe, and it looks like for the Bearcats, they are playing that similar default of making sure nobody gets too antsy on the defensive side.
Haven't even seen any utility thrown out yet. We are already 30 seconds into the round. As I say that, we are going to be seeing a Clove Smoke top mid. Feeling it. Market. Aldi pushes out, like you said. Bearcats were just waiting, and they got to see that over-aggression. It is now a 2v5 for the side of Waterloo, as the Bearcats have been able to successfully take the entirety of Market and B site.
Not gonna lie, I'm kind of questioning that one. I thought I might have seen that play coming in from the last round with that stack towards mid, but well, it doesn't pay off this time. Castley still trying to do the most with their rifle. Sprout can't quite land a headshot there. A new arcane vandal, everybody, but Castley still high on Phantom. Tried and true is solid for this pick, and that's gonna be all for the round. That's an 11-10 score line that was flipped right back around even after the timeout. No momentum gained.
Yeah, the Bearcats up to double digits now. It is really anyone's game. I mean, this is so neck and neck if you are Waterloo. Things are not looking too great right now. It looks like they are potentially trying to play for overtime here as they are saving pretty hard here. We're seeing mostly sheriffs, even some classics from the side of Waterloo. So economically, things are not looking too great.
I was gonna say I wanted to see just a smoke bottom mid and then the trap play go on off because right now the heavy default towards spawn is the way that the Bearcats are favoring right now, and that means don't overextend, don't get too antsy, but they're gonna fall right into the trap here. This is an eco round if I've ever seen one, with these players kind of just looking for as much info as possible, and they're gonna walk up and wait. Valve actually gets one before getting out. That is big. You're going to see the double satchel actually backwards this time, but here comes the overdrive. Vav with an extra one. Aldi will go down, and the trades come through, making this what was hope for Waterloo, but unfortunately now a 3v2 in favor of their opposition.
They do have that from the shadows online, though, on the side of Waterloo, so can probably make some kind of play with that. But the Bearcats still sitting outside B, only 40 seconds left. Those clove smokes are just harassing them. B main. Looks like the Bearcats are now working their way up to mid. Meanwhile, the players of Waterloo are staying pretty close together, playing very disciplined. They don't want to give
30
any free
seconds
picks,
left.
don't want to give any 1v1s.
You can just tell though that this is going to be a timing question is for who, and they did spot the pistol of feeling it, so they should have information on one player. But now Hannah walking in towards B main. There's absolutely no way you expect this push up just this early. And there comes the spray down. We are all tied up. And this game, it looks like it's set for overtime based on how these two are playing.
Commendable effort from Waterloo. You know, they were almost able to pull it off with that save. We saw some heroics pretty early on from Vab, especially. We saw Aldi rip the overdrive, but unfortunately, they were just not quite able to close that round out. We are, however, going to be seeing 10 rifles on the board. Castley with a Guardian, though, but still 10 rifles all across the board. So hopefully we can see some adaptations from the side of Waterloo because it looks like they are just losing more and more momentum as this game is going on.
And I think honestly that's all on Aldi. Not to say that it's their fault that they're like missing shots, but I think it does dictate how the rest of the team is going to feel, right? If you manage to get that first pick, if you're Aldi, you're going to see a lot more success, a little bit more aggro fights. But right now, you still have kind of now them being hesitant to push on up, which in this case is absolutely right. They should not be pushing up. I like the counter to this one way going as well, but eventually you're going to have to make a move on the defense because you are still technically playing a retake in that mid, and you know that eventually the door is going to be broken and the market threat could be a solid situation you're in, especially now with the showstopper and the thrash. I mean, that's one of the two places where teams really use that thrash to get that solid value.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm the University of Waterloo right now, I'm probably relying on that Hunter's Fury and that Rolling Thunder to hopefully just stall a plant because the Bearcats have been playing this super default heavy playstyle, you know, trying to execute like they are right now. Only 30 seconds left on the board. They do have a showstopper.
Ooh.
Thrash was already invested. But Waterloo has some really good ultimates to combat this and potentially counter this. Showstopper not going to connect to anyone. There goes that Hunter's Fury. Gonna be able to delay the plant. Rolling Thunder coming out.
Oh.
Only 10 seconds left for the Bearcats to get this bomb down. Can they do it?
Yeah, there's just no world where that's going to happen. It is going to be that 4v1 standoff, and Peaches will take their gun and sit in the corner and say, "You know what? I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna keep this into the next round if you guys don't mind." Even though they could have went for it, they had the economy. I guess in hindsight, you guess probably should have trying to knock down your opponent's economy, but oh well. Maybe you feed an absorb to Castley, who gets their neural theft online. But those are just trade-offs that you kind of have to make, and they are tough in the moment right now. Waterloo just one round away. Was this the score that they were expecting? Probably not, but boy, is it something that they are dealing with now, and a great fight so far from the Bearcats.
While Waterloo's locking in, we're seeing Aldi with an Odin going into what could potentially be the final round of this map. I think that, you know, they learned from last round. They realized they just have to stall. That's the way to punish a super defaulty playstyle like this. We are going to see that back from the dead. come online for the side of the Bearcats, which could potentially open up a fast rush from them. They are, however, still going to continue to default, poking and prodding at both mid and B main. Not finding any utility, though, not finding any players. Waterloo has become super, super disciplined. They've now anticipated this sort of playstyle from the Bearcats.
But honestly, great props to the Bearcats, right? Their conditioning has been immaculate, right? By doing this strong default, they're essentially saying you don't get any more map control than we are giving you. We know exactly what we're going to give and what we're going to take. Castle will have their life taken away from them, but feeling it will find the same fate. Frosty with 2 solid picks here, and this one now very, very tough for Waterloo as you're dealing with 2 ultimates on the opposing side. You assume that neural theft will be used in a moment, but there's the not dead yet. Just gonna have an extra number to this advantage. Now, Aldi, the Odin is good for 1, but head on a swivel, can't quite shoot every which direction. And Frosty with a beautiful round will bring us to OT just as expected. Well, we'll say at the half.
This is just an insane scoreboard to look at. I mean, looking at the scoreline of rounds 1 in each half, this is definitely a unique game. If I have ever seen one, that is the best word I can think of to describe this.
Yeah, it does feel strange, right? Where you have kind of one team establishing a strategy and then the other team not being able to break it. And it takes so much time. Like, if these teams had an infinite amount of timeouts, okay, maybe not infinite, well, let's say 5, right? You'd see them after a few rounds popping that timeout. You'd see the adaptation be made, and it would work because these teams have proven that they can do that. But right now, it's just about who can adapt quicker. And I know this is something we keep saying, but right now it is so, so important to grab the next round because in OT, it could very well be your last on the side.
Yeah, I mean, Waterloo did have an incredibly strong attack half. We are seeing that they're immediately getting punished for trying to 5-man rush. Able to get out safely, though, without taking any casualties. But yeah, the Bearcats were able to aggress. Luckily for Waterloo, they were able to get out quite a bit of util from the Bearcats, able to get out that Clove vulnerable. Taking down any Cypher trips from Sprout that might be on the B site. Bearcats opting to play for a retake. Castle on that lurk. What's new?
Surprised that Cypher cam was used just to ping out one initial player. I thought they would have held it open a little bit more. Maybe see if the Cypher was there so they don't have as many angles to worry about, but here's feeling it. And they're going to get sprayed down by Sprout. That's unfortunate for them. Peaches still the fault line available, not able to use it though. Castle on the lurk still. Aldi still landing the shots, and well, the overdrive available. You know that with 1 HP on Frosty, it's going to be tough, and it will be impossible now that they find themselves 6 feet under. It's going to be Waterloo on match point.
You know, again, I think that's a great reminder for the audience. We've been seeing Waterloo struggling a little bit in this last half, but it's a great reminder of how the first half went for them. I mean, their attack strategies and their attack protocols are just so beautiful and so obviously well rehearsed. We are seeing from the side of Waterloo now, they're going to have that Cypher posted up on B site, potentially going for some aggression A main, getting their breach and their neon there. Bearcats, though, doing their typical mid default. Maybe Waterloo will have something prepared for this time.
I want to see a mid re-clear, please. That's all I ask. Smoke bottom mid, throw a stun, throw a drone, something of that sort in there, and sneak out a pick of whoever is in there. See, right now they're using the drone, but it's too early, right? Yeah, you might be assuming that they're in mid, but feeling it with a pixel angle. That's what we call the 10 spot right there. We'll manage to grab initial pick, and this has been the best start to a defensive half for Waterloo that they have seen thus far. They have not been able to grab that first blood very often, and here they will. And especially on an important player like the Rays, that's now that big explosive power that you're hoping for with the sight hit now gone.
Waterloo is prepared for what looks like it's going to be an A rush. 40 seconds left for the Bearcats. Seeing that fault line come out, seeing the Dizzy come out, as they rush into the elbow, Waterloo is going to fall back towards CT. 30 seconds left. Can the Bearcats get the bomb down in time?
Yeah, no need to necessarily force any of these fights. If you have the numbers advantage and you trust in yourselves, Aldi, hello, there's an Odin. Although there is a flash from the breach, it looks like it's just Frosty left. And 5 players to take down. They'll only manage 2, and it's going to be Waterloo here with our victory in map number 1.
What an exciting first map to start the series. Like we said, stakes could not be higher right now. Whatever team loses this series is unfortunately going to be kicked out of the tournament. We won't be able to see them again until next semester. But yeah, such an exciting match. I mean, neck and neck, 12 and 14. Applause to both teams, especially the Bearcats for putting up such a great fight as the underdogs. I mean, Ari, do you have any thoughts on what we just witnessed?
I mean, Waterloo through, trials and tribulations, they do manage to get the victory at the end. So as much as that is their map pick and you might expect them to be a little bit more prepared for, they still did get the win, and to them I have to give props. Sunset is not the most uh, diverse map when it comes to playbooks. There really is only a few options. It's starting to become the new Ascent, not quite there yet. Please, not quite there yet, but we're getting there, right? We're starting to see a few comps being the select few, and if you don't play those, you kind of end up being the losers there. But still, I mean, just great game plans, and it really did come down to who made less mistakes. That is the Ascent playstyle, and we saw it here, right? The re-clears, they weren't coming through from Waterloo, and that's where you see them get punished with the late lurks. But it's just paying attention to every single avenue, and something that was absolutely great from Bearcats as well.
I agree. I think that took a little bit, but Waterloo was eventually able to figure out the adaptation to the Bearcats' super defaulty playstyle. They're able to realize, wait, just stall, don't let them get the bomb down. Ultimately, that's what Valorant's about. It's not always about getting kills. It's just about, can you get that bomb down? Can you prevent the bomb from getting placed down? Um, it looks like we are going to be heading into a short break before map 2, which is going to be Haven, I believe. That is going to be the Bearcats pick. So hopefully another really exciting match. But yeah, stay tuned for that.
Yeah, we'll see you guys after the break. Hello, everyone. Welcome on back to the Aurora series. Today, it's been proven to be a solid matchup here between University of Waterloo White and the UC Bearcats Violet. Right now, you have University of Waterloo White up 1-0 after a very, very close finish in overtime on Sunset. It was 14-12. My name is Arcast here with Lil Hoppa. Hoppa, give us a little quick refresh.
Yeah, so we saw crazy, crazy map one. I mean, it looked like Waterloo was stomping the first half of Bearcats. Bearcats called a timeout. I don't know what their captain, Big Papa Clyde, was saying in that timeout, but some
Win.
kind of switch flipped. And it ended up going into overtime. Ultimately, Waterloo was able to still finish on top, and now we are going into the Bearcats map pick of Haven. Looks like we're going to be seeing, I believe that's the same exact composition coming out from Waterloo. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, yeah. That's 5 for 5. Um, is it going to get locked in? We assume so because that also looks like a very Haven comp. I mean, it's been interchangeable with Jet and Neon, but Neon meta by the way, so we are going to see that Neon coming on through. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see kind of the other half of the meta with the other flips that I just talked about, meaning Hannah on the Jet, and then you have the Clove, but still that Cypher, that double initiator being the name of the game. And although we didn't quite see as many Sova specific advantages in terms of Vav's gameplay earlier, it still was enough recon to, re-clear mid and do things that they wanted to do. So I think that this is going to favor them just based off of the comps because Vav did showcase that they are more comfortable on the Sova playing it on Sunset, but maybe there's just some things that Frosty's got for us to show.
Definitely. And something interesting I want to add, maybe I'm looking into things a little too much, but we did see that the side of Waterloo, despite this not being their map pick, they had their characters locked in pretty fast. They immediately all knew who they were playing. We saw a little bit more time being taken from the side of the Bearcats. I don't know if maybe this is going to be indicative of how well prepared these teams are, if, how well rehearsed their procedures are going to be. But I am curious to see, especially because Haven, not just the fact that it's a three-site map, but even just the way Haven is laid out in general compared to Lotus, for example, the only other three-site map in the game. It's so heavily strategy based. I mean, if you are a team without set procedures and you're going up against a team that does have really well thought out protocols, it's not even a question. They could be the worst team mechanically in the world, and if they have a good strategy, not
Oh,
much you can do.
yeah, talk about protocols, but something else that was a key part of last game was also the lurks, right? And now technically that could be wrapped into protocols, but we saw Castley absolutely popping off there, and Sprout, although doing their part as a cipher, being more known for anchoring down the site and grabbing a few picks here or there. It definitely felt like Castley was the lurking MVP of last game. So I think this is going to favor them a little bit more as well. But of course, speculation. Maybe we've had a timeout and these teams are completely refreshed and they've found themselves new strategies, new hands. You never know. But let's get right into this map number 2.
Waterloo opting to just run it down onto the B site pistol round. Very unconventional strategy. They tap the bomb, immediately leave, taking full advantage of their Neon sprinting ability. Gotta be able to get into garage and get onto C site for free. Sprout playing off, does get pushed off by that breach utility. Waterloo is going to be able to get that bomb planted.
I was going to say 2 avenues to retake from, but no, just like that, immediately the extension right back into garage. However, maybe it's going to hurt them because on pistol, maybe you want to group up and play and take fights as 5. But here you go, Castley now lurking has a 1v5, and now suddenly it's them doing the retaking. And good luck. Good luck with that. That's all I have to say.
Bearcats are going to be able to get that defuse off. Sprout able to kill her double, and that is a round on the board for the Bearcats. Flawless one at that, I do believe. But yeah, I mean, not surprising. We saw the Bearcats had a very strong pistol round during that Sunset game. Played beautifully by Sprout. I love how Sprout did not get too overzealous, Took a peek, missed a shot, immediately knew, let me fall back, let me play with my teammates. I do think, this is where we might be seeing Castley getting punished a little bit for the lurks, because if the Bearcats are able to have such a strong retake, they know that there's only going to be 4 on site at most, because Castley's just always permanently on a lurk.
I mean, I know that I touched on it a little bit earlier, but I think on pistol rounds, you don't quite go for those lurks, right? Maybe you just use that strength in number since you don't have maybe one gun that you can rely on. It's solid to get 3 kills. Chances are there probably will be a trade. Solid timing on that rolling thunder, excuse me, the stun coming on through, and it will look like the
Spike down
gunplay
A.
is perfect here. Frosty with 2 in the Bulldog and Castley on the lurk again, but everybody knows that. If you didn't, yeah, I'd be surprised that you watched map 1.
Castley hopefully just gonna be able to get at least one pick here. Frosty is up close. Castley not quite able to get that pick off though. That is a flawless force round for the side of the Bearcats.
It's not every day you can say that the Bearcats have more rounds than Waterloo have picks and kills in this game, but that's why you look at stats towards the end of the game and not the beginning of the game, because they might not tell the full story. Either way, Waterloo though, you do have to tell them regardless to maybe wake up here with their guns. This is a tough bonus to overcome. You see 4 Bulldogs and the Judge, especially the Judge on the defense of this map, detrimental.
Standing ahead.
Frosty going for that recon in A lobby, not gonna spot anyone out. Waterloo waits out the utility. They now run through A long, knowing that there's not going to be any Cypher utility here. Forestall. This Owl Drone is going to spot out the Judge, but Hannah runs into Vav. Vav able to just one-tap, though.
Very interesting play, and I know you're on a bonus. You have to try and make some sort of gamble here or there, but I don't think that was the gamble to take either way. They've learned their lesson, and a 4v5 will be the name of the game right now. Nav, gonna go up towards Heaven here. And it looks like the retake will be from 2 angles. Of course, these players are going to wait for that second smoke to come on back so everybody can go in together. But no, they go in actually a little bit early. They use it as a lurk smoke to try and clear back sight. But Feeling is absolutely feeling strong right now. And 2 kills will be what they get here. Sprouts now just a Bulldog getting sprayed down towards spawn. Almost catches a bullet to the face here, but it looks like that's going to be it for all the hefty gunfights here. It might just be a save of the Bulldog. Maybe looking to get a little more. Snag a rifle, get out maybe. Looking, and we'll go down to the bomb.
Round on the board for Waterloo, only taking 1 casualty, so very, very successful first spy round from them. I would also like to add, before we continue, it does look like Big Papa Clyde, or formerly Big Papa Clyde's name, has been fixed. And it looks like she has changed her name to Ave. So, Ave, Big Papa Clyde, we apologize for using the wrong name the first game.
Yeah, you know, just Big Papa Clyde stands for Ave. English.
It's just an alternative spelling. You know, like unique spelling.
The Big Papa Clyde is silent, you know?
Waterloo is going to be working towards mid, potentially walking into garage. Aldi is going to break that Cypher trip. Sprout's cam is going to spot them though. Paranoia misses Sprout. Who's now able to take down Aldi, gets Vav. Jiyoung able to trade out though. Castley still posted in garage. I don't know if the Bearcats are aware of her lurk. Jiyoung getting a second in the round. Now a 3v3.
I was going to say if that kill didn't come through, you'd be very, very sad if you were Castley there, but now they do gain numbers advantage. The dart available for the retake. Hannah dashes on in, and the scan will ping 1 here. Frosty does manage to pick up, and they have heard the footstep towards spawn. So this is very doable. This is not planted for either defender here. So there is going to be a stick to have here. Castley pick up the first, the right click, the stun, everything is there, and the defense plays it perfectly, realizing the situation they were put in. It's a tie game of 2-2 yet again.
This is the Castley we have been waiting to see this map. I mean, that is the definition of an impactful lurk. And I think that, aside from even just getting that first kill in Garage and then getting the last 2 kills to round 2, just Castley's presence there just creates such a huge question mark on the map for the side of the Bearcats. You know, they have to hesitate when they're going for that retake, and when they're trying to just stick the bomb, they have to be conscious of there could be someone Garage. They could have wrapped CT by now. They could have wrapped long. Who knows? So, again, that is how you be an impactful lurker.
I must wait a moment.
I've seen this cam one too many times for my liking as a Cypher disliker, just because I know the value you can get with it. And Cypher, this Castley is doing so well, grabbing the first pick this time once again. And another cage will be used to fend off what is an onslaught of 3 Bearcats players. They won't watch the first, but there's the first kill. The Sheriffs, well, be good for at least 1 kill, but not after the casualties have been made. Aldi looking for their first kill of the map still. And just needing 1 or 2 bullets to secure that one, but not going to over push here. Just going to play off their teammate, play off the dart, and there you go. Aldi now back into the game. Peaches, though, with the Sheriff and 4v1. You're looking to play exits here, go down to bomb, maybe sneak away some additional damage, but for Peaches, this is a lost cause.
Feeling it, able to close that round out. That is a 3rd round on the board for the University of Waterloo. I'm getting a little bit of deja vu to Sunset here. I can't lie to you. But Castley, again, just played so beautifully, so aware of everything too. And I do want to give Aldi a quick shout out. You know, you're talking about Aldi getting her first pick of the game there, but I love the way she played so disciplined because, you know, a lot of times, especially when thinking about duelist players, they might get a little antsy there. They might, you know, if you're in an alti situation, you might just try to go for that pick on Scrap because you want to get that kill. But she knew that her job was just contain, you know, make sure that Sprout did not move from that A lobby spot, and she did that successfully. Side of the Bearcats has invested in an operator now. Castley does cage up, is able to insert herself into A short. So the rest of her team works their way towards garage and C.
And I like this. This is what you were seeing kind of towards that pistol round. Hannah, will they be able to land the shot? No. Castley gets the pick, opens up the entire site. Neural theft for all the information. And that means that you have gained what is essentially a free round just off of 1 fight. Of course, it's not that easy, right? You still are going to have to go through the gunfights and make sure you don't make any other mistakes. But they have played this to perfection when it goes to the initial strat. Hunter's Fury is also baited out as well, so that's more as a reward for them. Peaches still with these flashes looking to get out of this very narrow choke. Castley still with the cam, the paranoia, everything's still there, and although the dart pings through, you're losing this time. You're going to invest more and more util, but you're not going to gain a single inch. Everybody's still stuck in that angle. Aldi just containing yet again. These players, it looks like they are going to go for it. The spray down is immaculate from the attackers. And Frosty, although claiming 2, will go down eventually 4-2 here for Waterloo.
That's just a really tough retake if you're the Bearcats. I mean, trying to go for, I believe that was a 4 or 5-man retake purely out of that CT from the A side. You know, it's just such a narrow angle to come out of. And it's just so easy if you're in the position of Waterloo, you know, spray it down. I loved seeing all the util harassment, though, coming out from both teams, actually. I think I saw all 4 shock darts come out rapid fire, one after the other. But yeah, it's very, very interesting how they're both playing this. I love seeing these kind of more unique strategies coming out. Speaking of coming out, the Bearcats going for an aggressive play as they have Sheriffs. Immediately get punished for it, though. Hannah does get a little body blocked in garage.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you got to go for plays like that, but also it's not going to be the easiest to pull on off. Castley gets their pick towards A, and well, feels like it's almost like a ritual at this point. It's like, okay, when does Castley get a pick this time? Question is, will it get one this time in this fight? And it looks like the superior weapon will rain down indeed. Waterloo find themselves at 5, and I believe this was the exact situation we saw ourselves in Sunset. You are correct.
Will the Bearcats call another timeout? Will they be getting another Ave timeout pep talk? Looks like not this round, but we are going to be seeing 10 rifles across the board, so you know, both teams in a really good position. Waterloo does have 3 very, very powerful ultimates, though, so hopefully Sprout can lurk a little bit, get a pick, get a neural theft to get some information for her team.
I think as well that, well, I was going to say these Bearcats need to fight a little bit more for A main, but right now it looks like they need to just back off of C main and C site entirely, as that will be a Rolling Thunder used. And this is now the Hunter's Fury for post plant. Aldi You know they're going to pop that ult if they feel enough threats in this site. Castley, get out of dodge. 2 HP remaining. And grabs the cam on the way out. But wow, that was a spray to say the least. Just one bullet would catch them and that would be enough. But Frosty, just perfect with the headshot there. Now needs a few more. Aldi is zooming across the field here. Runs out of ammo in the fingers. But oh, hello and goodbye.
Castley's, again, still able to have such impact even on that 2 HP. I do appreciate the Bearcats finally starting to counter that and punish the lurking a little bit. You know, playing all together, they're like, let's sniff Castley out, just mow her down. We're not quite able to kill her though. But yeah, again, things are really, really spiraling out of control right now. I mean, Waterloo's economy is just immaculate right now. They're able to win these rounds so flawlessly. The Bearcats forced onto yet another save round again.
And once finally now we're seeing actually a dart come out from the offense, but once again that information just taken on away. Frosty is going to have their hands full here. Feeling it doesn't clear the corner. So there's one pick, there's two, almost had a third. Feeling it, although the one to make the mistake not clearing the corner will actually be the one remainder alive from that A-long push. The Cypher is still available there, but nobody to swing off of these trips, so the plant will go down. There's an aftershock. There's a few sheriff shots, but they don't quite land yet. There you go. Peaches will grab their second of the game today with an aftershock kill, and this one, beautiful. Just needs to secure this round now if you're the Bearcats, but man, is it tough. That Blade Storm used, dropping on down, takes the fall damage, the right click is there, and the Thrifty will come through. That is a beautiful plan by the defenders, and no wonder they've been playing for that so long.
Great work from the Bearcats. This is going to go ahead and equalize the economies out quite a bit, and yet again, I'm getting deja vu to Sunset, Ari.
Yeah, but there was no timeout this time.
There was no timeout. Abe's aura was enough to, you know, push them to lock in. No need to call a timeout this time.
Wasn't it also 2-7? Or maybe I'm lying. I don't remember the exact scoreline. But I also remember we didn't see an op from the Bearcats the previous map, and that's something we're seeing this time. So that's something to look forward to as well. We did see it already once. That didn't go so hot for them. Maybe the adjustments made here with almost the same engagement.
Frosty is looking to punish this insertion of Castley short. Is able to win the aim duel. Castley not expecting that. Yet again, the Bearcats are finally learning how to punish these lurks that have been so impactful for the side of Waterloo. Going back to speaking of Waterloo, they're now inserting themselves into Garage. Gonna get smoked off. They're being pretty quiet about it. Not sure if the Bearcats are aware that all 4 members are just sitting in Garage right now.
I'm sorry, what are those trips? I'm sure they have some purpose, but right now it looks like they are not going to find any value just quite yet. Sprout will pick up the kill towards their spawn, and feeling it just dodges the trips as expected in that scenario. Although the From the Shadows is available, they have a 1v3, might not want to invest it here. Full blind goes for the swing, almost picks up the first, almost picks up the second, but has no bullets to shoot at the second, so will eventually go down. It's a bit scrappier than you would have liked it, but still the Bearcats come out on top with some momentum.
That is a Valorant spray RNG moment if I have ever seen one. Oh my goodness. But we are seeing that timeout getting called from Waterloo this time, so switching up the script a little bit from the last map. You know, I don't think Waterloo's in a terrible position right now. 4-6 is not bad at all. They've secured at least a 6-6 half at a bare minimum. Ideally, they can just win the next 2, bring it to a 4-8 half, but I would be a little concerned looking at the ultimates that the Bearcats have online, especially, and the fact that they've just had this momentum for winning the past 2 rounds. Ari, do you have any thoughts on adaptations that either team should be making right now?
I mean, I think right now your lurk is starting to get sniffed out, right? So maybe you fake. Okay, all right. So this maybe I'm overcooking here, but bear with me. Maybe you fake the lurk, right?
Here.
You fake the insert from Castley into a short like they've been punishing you. You throw that cage, and then you just go and you slam C, right? Because everyone's still anchoring. Nobody wants to quite leave just yet because they're like, okay, well, where's the lurk? Where is Castley? Well, on site with the rest of the team. And then you can play for their Hunter's Furies. You can play for that post plant. And something that you haven't quite seen, right, is playing those longer angles, playing the spam game, as opposed to holding directly on site, as we've seen Waterloo do.
Took the words right out of my mouth, actually. But it looks like we are going to be seeing Waterloo go just for a very traditional hard hit. Castley included. They're getting hit with that Rolling Thunder very early on in the round, though. The Bearcats are hitting their aggression with potentially even more aggression here. It's now an all-out war, A-long.
Yeah, you knew somebody was going to go down there. You can't just use all of that utility and push up that far without getting punished. So, unfortunately for the Bearcats, it is Frosty. But there's the A fake, there's the insertion. Honestly, I want Castley to show her hand here, A. I want her to say, hey, here I am, I'm still lurking. But no, you're going to see just this garage push. But oh, Castley's lurk pays off this time. So maybe it was just the fake of, well, we're going A. Oh, we're leaving, and now we're back to A. It's a game of ping pong where you don't quite know which site to go to, but eventually Waterloo will pick the correct one and have plenty of ways to win this round, especially with numbers advantage. With ults online, you feel like they've got this one on lock.
Waterloo is aware that the Bearcats are prepped for this retake. You know, they saw that breach util come out just about 10 seconds earlier from now. Prepped and ready for the retake from CT. Bearcats taking their time, though. It looks like they might be going for a safe here, actually.
Yeah, I think that is the smart play. I mean, I can't quite see all the credits for the players just quite yet, but you have to imagine that after losing this round, it's going to be a bit lower. You want to just have a solid attempt here as opposed to throwing it away and going for a force buy. Actually, Pichu's has a decent amount of credits. They might have been able to go for it. Definitely with that economy hurting for Waterloo. Might have been able to snag a few away, maybe even the whole round, but well, it's all hindsight now. All you got to do is focus on the round in front of you, and it is the same scoreline that we saw previously.
4-7, you know, again, not a bad half from either team. Whether it ends up becoming 5-7 or 4-8, that is still a great half. We're seeing the Sprouts trips again. I believe that those might be trips specifically for the Neon slide.
It's
I think that is the purpose of those trips.
I mean, I like them. They're cool.
They're
but,
unique.
But also, every Grim Wall has its fault as well. So we'll leave that discussion there.
Looks like Waterloo is posted outside of C Long.
I must wait a moment.
They're going for was probably going to be a C split here. We are seeing Aldi going into Garage. We're seeing Castley looking for rotates on the B site. As I say this, though, Waterloo begins to walk away from C Long as Castley's able to take some space up towards B.
Yeah, I think this is the play now. You just go towards A, you work A. You should be around here. Make sure that you re-clear all of this diligently instead of walking into an op. There's Hannah with that op finally paying off here. And that's the danger. Hannah was looking for Castley, but instead just finds a Neon walking right into their path. The whole point of Castley being in B is to listen to rotations right now. Not just to take a timing into B, although they will do so eventually. But that's the advantage you're looking for. Although the Neon is spotted A, that's why you're thinking maybe we should just go to C. Maybe they're thinking, hey, there's an op on A. Maybe they rotated over after seeing our entry person. Let's just go on into the site. I mean, it's beautiful here, the defense. The Hunter's Fury is online. Ave is finding some picks, and Castley now the one left, and spotted on out because you know they're going to be lurking. And a 5-7 half, something that they couldn't scrape away the first time now. Waterloo will find themselves in the same scenario.
Same scoreline. I mean, these two teams are just a perfect match for each other, honestly. I'm very, very pleasantly surprised with how both of these maps have been turning out so far. I do think it's very interesting how Castley specifically was adapting during that first half. You know, we saw, like you had talked about with Cassie walking up B that last round, it wasn't necessarily about taking a time to get picks, but even just getting information, as well as also just kind of creating like a question mark on the map for the defenders, you know. They're sitting there wondering, where's Castley? Where is she? They have to always be aware of her. So I'm hoping that we'll see something a little similar from Sprout this time, as it does look like Sprout is going to be lurking outside of A or mid, going late behind the rest of her teammates as the Bearcats rush into garage and work their way through the lane of C-Long.
Big dart. I mean, that's going to scan too. You immediately know where these players are playing, but now you have that double breach flash, and they don't quite hit everybody. Just spamming the default plan doesn't quite get the kill. But Castley still here, and as the picks and the players come on through, Ave will be the one to go down in this scenario. An additional breach flash coming on in with the stall as well, and now Sprout the one lurking. It's Cypher v Cypher on the lurk battle, and this time it's Ji-Young on top. Says, hey, my breach is enough to get in the way of your Cypher battle. And a pistol round now for Waterloo, something we've seen them struggle on a little bit. They finally take one.
This is huge for Waterloo because, when you win that pistol round, the odds of you losing the next round are quite slim. Fingers crossed I didn't just caster cursed anyone. But, huge round for them because they could potentially secure a 5-9 scoreline right now, which that is huge, Getting very close to double digits. We're going to be seeing all the buy-ups coming from the side of Waterloo. We're seeing Ares, we're seeing a Guardian, we're seeing a Bulldog. From the side of the Bearcats, though, we're going to be seeing 4 Classics and a Sheriff. They are going to be running into Garage. Hannah going to hit that Cypher trip. They are just W-keying towards the C site. They are getting punished by this utility coming out from Waterloo.
Yeah, and everyone's being funneled into this garage space. The more time that passes, the worse it becomes for the Bearcats. They find themselves having to resort back to mid, and they're lucky that they're not being flanked and that those players had not taken up full A main control. You still are forcing 2 of them to be there. And this breach is actually kind of sitting over towards spawn. So you have room to work with. You have an empty B site. You should at least be able to get the bomb down. Do they know that? Well, they should now, but you're actually going to hear the push going towards A. Oh, Aldi's ready for this fight. You don't want to push into here, especially with the Ares. Here comes the wall bang, the shocks. Vav, good for the first kill, and there's Aldi spraying everyone down. But it is just 2 picks. When it's all said and done, Bearcats in a better position that they would have hoped for at the start of this round. You do have yourselves a few guns as well, but just like that is one taken away. Hannah faces a flash in their face, and well, that'll be an extra round for Waterloo. It was scary, but they do manage to bring it through.
What I find interesting about that, and again, this kind of goes back to talking about how Haven is such a strat-heavy map. I think both teams there kind of incorrectly predicted what they thought the other team was going to do there, because I'm assuming that the Bearcats thought that Waterloo would have pushed up and capitalized on that A main space that they gave up early in the round, hence why they just ran from B onto A. But Waterloo was angered because they didn't want to potentially give up any guns to a lurking Sprout, so I thought that that was just very interesting how that round played out. We are seeing a full buy from the side of the Bearcats now. Waterloo's buy not looking too shabby either. Still 2 rifles, a pistol, and 1 SMG. They are going to be getting a little aggressive mid here. Not going to find anyone window, though, as the Bearcats are choosing to play very disciplined, not wanting to give any guns up.
Aldi a very forward positioning this time, and ooh, just not quite aware of where A was going to be while that swing comes through. It almost ends up being what is essentially an off angle, and although it is a 1-for-1 trade, you actually got to be happy with that if you're Waterloo, because you're not going to get a round winning, B lurk right in 2 seconds into the round with a Sheriff, but you certainly have got yourselves a Bulldog, some additional space that your enemy now has to re-clear, more time burnt off this clock, and Bearcats, well, they're actually just try clearing what is a long, and you're going to hear this drone coming on through on the Cypher cam, so you should know what is happening. The A space given to Bearcats, and that will mean that a shift should come over, but no, actually the defense is thinning out. This is quite interesting to me.
Looks like the side of Waterloo is opting for a retake here, which makes sense given the agents that they still have alive. Sprout able to take her double down in Cassie. That's going to take all the Cypher utility offline. Waterloo left in a 3v4 retake scenario. Gun disadvantage. They do, however, have the perfect agents still alive for a retake. They have their smokes. They have 2 initiators. Again, retaking A from such a narrow lane of CT is so hard. Feeling it. Able to get the first. Gets taken down by Hannah, though.
I mean, there is a world where these fights get isolated. Vav doing their best to grab at least the first 7 bullets. Here's the footsteps back towards short. Doesn't land a shot, though. There's a trade out. Now knows where the final player is. And the pings will come through, but the bullets will not. Hannah, with a beautiful round, gets themselves a Blade Storm and a round for the Bearcats.
Very, very scary round. Bearcats were ultimately able to secure that round out, denying Waterloo of getting up to those double digits. However, commendable effort from Waterloo. They were at such a gun disadvantage, and they ultimately were able to bring it down to a 1v1. So, played beautifully by both teams, honestly. I think things got a little bit shaky towards the end for the Bearcats, but Hannah was able to trust her aim and just close that round out.
Yeah, I think with Waterloo, as much as you get that first pick and that space and the time burnt off, you are still going to have to make another play, because if you give all of this A main pressure, you're not going to see the value that that initial pick was, because eventually you're just spreading out into that 4v1, which just kind of resets you to the start of the round, because you're on that eco again. You're looking to play retake, and, well, that's not quite what you want. Sprout is going to notice this trip has been broken, but that's about all that's really going to happen here. No, don't go re-exploring. Oh, no. Oh, there's the rotate off. Calls for them to come back, though, so Aldi will have some support here. There's the swing into 2, the play off of it, and now the Sova comes on in, supporting fire, and that should provide enough time for Aldi to get on out here. You're going to have that space given up, but a pick gain, so that is a 1-for-1 trade that you will absolutely take if you're Waterloo.
A great, great play from Waterloo. We got Aldi and Bav there. We are going to be seeing the Bearcats rushing onto the A site. Waterloo already prepped on the side. Hannah able to get a beautiful shot off with that Blade Storm. Aldi and Ji-young getting 2. It is now a 2v4 if you are on the side of the
30
Bearcats.
seconds left.
Ave is now just stuck A-long with her Sova.
They're really going to give up A here? That's interesting to me. I mean, you know they don't have time to rotate to C. You've given them what is essentially the entire site for free, and now you've given up a pick as well. This was not at all doable if played well by Waterloo, but now you find them making a mistake, and here you go. There's potential to come on back, and it becomes a 2v1 yet again, because Ave has that Clove ultimate. Cassie's going to have to jump down eventually, but it is going to be after the Clove will expire from their ultimate. Here comes the jump down. Here's the gamble, and the shots will not come through. Frosty with a beautiful round, but Waterloo, it feels like they completely threw that one away.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know off the top of my head what utility Ji-young had left by the end of that round. However, if I had to guess, they were trying to stall with some breach utility, using that aftershock, for example, but Ji-young did get picked off by Frosty there, which no fault of her own. I mean, she could have tucked a little further, but Frosty was just able to hit a really crazy Guardian shot there towards CT and just kind of put a wedge in the plans of Waterloo. It is now 7-9, only 2-round gap between these two teams. Waterloo also being forced onto an eco now for what might be the first time we've seen this happen this entire game.
It feels like it, but still the scores are this close, regardless of how the rounds are being won. Waterloo, it feels like whenever they win, it is kind of dominant. Frosty, there is no way that you expect 2 people in this cubby here. You might expect 1, but here's the double swing on out. And, well, that's what happens when there's 2 players versus 2 players, and some have rifles and some do not. That's going to open up the C site. Aldi will break the trip over towards A here, but now it's lurking time. Oh, Sprout, you better be looking in the right way. Otherwise, you're going to be taken down. Aldi with the stinger will run past you and will pick up a Phantom for themselves, but it still is going to be a tough retake here. You would expect maybe 1 to go long, but especially with these gun disadvantages, you are going to look to re-clear garage here, get some information early. Ave will push up here and go in garage. That's the one thing that could actually hurt you, because now you have a player in B that's staring at you down, and this is evened on up. Teams both making mistakes here in the consecutive rounds, but it looks like it should still be secured enough here for the Bearcats to grab a few picks. It's going to be close on time, but they've got it. That's crazy. Waterloo have stolen away this round.
1.47 seconds, and that's going to bring Waterloo up to double digits, 1 step closer to getting that series win, ultimately. I mean, the Bearcats have double the rounds to make up for compared to Waterloo if we're talking about winning this particular map. But yeah, that was a crazy, I mean, criminal that Waterloo ended up securing that round.
I mean, the Bearcats had to have been like, we feel bad for you guys throwing around and us winning it. So you can have one right back, right? We'll both make mistakes. And so the economy's balanced on out. The mistakes are there, but that's unfortunately the point of, well, you kind of want to keep that. You don't want to make it a 1-for-1 thrifty round type thing. But Waterloo, they'll find themselves with the alt advantage. Valve, it feels like these Owl drones have been to kind of just find information in mid, not necessarily to reclear. And although it is valuable information, they have no clue what's happening in B right now. Somehow, Castley has found themselves holding half the map and their spawn.
Hunter's Fury coming out. Does get one hit onto the planter, gets the second hit to take down Peaches. We're seeing that Neural Theft coming out. It is now a 2v3 retake. Ave able to get to, or...
What?
Whoa.
Okay. I was like, I wasn't sure what quite happened there. I wasn't sure if that was the bullets landing or the defuse going down when we quite literally saw the defuse being canceled, but that's a back-to-back-to-back thrifty. But just by different teams. And, well, I'm kind of speechless anymore. I'm kind of throwing all my analysis out the window.
Yeah. I'm gonna be completely frank with the audience here. I'm not even quite sure what exactly happened on the B set at the end of that round there, but we are seeing room for a potential back-to-back-to-back thrifty here, as Waterloo is forced onto a save round. Change up in the Sova Dart a little bit to punish Aldi for pushing up and just being a nuisance, breaking Sprout's trip A main. Ave tapping the bomb, or tapping the ult orb. I apologize. Does not get punished for it, able to grab that orb. As the rest of the Bearcats sitting outside of C, we're seeing a shock dart coming out in anticipation of any Cypher trips.
I think we are seeing Waterloo fall into this trap of, well, everybody is holding a different angle, which is nice. You have information on the whole map, but you're spreading yourselves so thin that let's say there's a 5-hit, it's not going to go super well for you. Castley picks up one with the Sheriff, but unfortunately won't find the second, the Neural Theft, to spot out everyone else. And Feeling it is feeling out of it right now. Gonna get out of dodge and will just provide some suppressing fire over towards spawn. Hopefully one connects, which it does not, unfortunately for them. And now what is essentially a 5v4. Just looking at these ultimates, I mean, Waterloo should not win this round. And I've said that for the past 3 rounds, but I truly mean it. Here it's going to be reach ult for breach ult, the spam down, goes for Sprout. There's the not dead yet, and everybody's popping their ults now. The Bearcats really want to win this one, and they will be rewarded with it. It's costly, but it was also costly on the other side. They've invested some tools of their own. Within one yet again.
9-10, Bearcats are just one round away from not only equalizing the scoreboards, but also getting up to those double digits. We are seeing a bit of an adaptation from Waterloo here. Not only did they save last round, but they saved enough for an operator on Aldi. So we're gonna see if this investment pays off. Aldi is also switching things up, opting to opt C long rather than her typical A long positioning here. We're actually seeing a very heavy C presence from Waterloo. Unfortunately, it looks like the Bearcats are kind of posted outside of A right now.
Well, it's funny because the Bearcats are actually doing the same strategy that worked for them on Sunset in those, I guess you could say, in the final quarter of that game, right? It was just go for a solid default, wait for the mistakes to come through from the opposing team, and eventually they'll just walk into your crosshair. The drone, I don't think, scanned anybody, so that's not going to be as much information gained. But although the fault line does come through, so you have to assume there is a reclear of some sort from the Bearcats if you're Waterloo. Ji Young jump spotting, spots the head of one, barely keeps their head on. Now Lurk Smoke comes on through for the defenses to work with. There's a dart, and it looks like it's going to be a retake from short. If these players do decide to spam, they might be able to get the planter, but no, Ji Young will go down. Val will be the sole person left, and backside they will swing, backside they will fall. Castley, now the only one here now as well with the rest of the team, but just not enough util to fully commit to this retake quite yet. Everybody goes on down, and it's a flawless. You remember the pistol rounds? It's just like that.
Again, that retake from A is so tough. That narrow, narrow lane walking out from CT onto the A site. I mean, it's just brutal. You just get funneled into whatever cross is being held between Graffiti and Hell. It's just absolutely brutal. We are seeing a second timeout being called from the University of Waterloo by their coach. I mean, I'm not exactly sure how many rounds they've now lost in a row. I believe is that 2 or 3 rounds that Waterloo has lost in a row,
Just
but
two, I believe.
two. Yeah, I mean, but still, this 10-10 scoreline is incredibly scary. Yet again, we are just seeing a repeat of Sunset, and like you're even talking about with the strategies coming out from the Bearcats, they've realized don't fix what ain't broken. They're going for the default, getting some utility, getting some info, and just waiting for that slight overextension from the University of Waterloo. That's all they need to open a round up and just be able to have it spiral out of control.
On the other hand, right, if you're Waterloo, if it is broke, very much do fix it, please. Um, right now, they're going for this A main sort of pressure where they break the dart and they don't actually threaten. They just make the neon noises over towards A long, but they haven't actually pushed out or committed to that flank once yet. So as long as you keep just making that sound, the attackers are just going to disregard it. They're going to be like, oh yeah, they're doing their thing again. And maybe there's a punish there, and it has been a punish based off of the game plan as opposed to direct gunfights. Aldi has been known for that stinger, and that's why you're actually going to know that this is the neon over towards mid. Here's a fast take towards mid from the defense, but it's just going to result in a fast take on A from the attackers.
Waterloo pushing up through window here. Potentially gonna catch Sprout. Can Sprout mow them all down? Gets one, gets immediately traded out by Vav though. Frosty able to trade out her double. Gets Ji-Young as well. Gets a third on Feeling It. Is now all up to Castley, a Sheriff and a Dream. 1v4. Gets the first pick onto Ave. Can she get the next three?
I think it would be fitting for this series, but I don't think it's actually going to happen as well. Castley, the dart, the aftershock, everything just trying to persuade them not to swing on out. Castley, a wide swing out from Frosty is good for the kill. Frosty with a big round, although it is what you consider to be an anti-eco, is still very solid shots. And this is, I think, the first lead we have seen from the Bearcats all series.
I was just about to comment that. Yes, you are correct. This is the first time we've seen the Bearcats take the lead on the scoreboard. Only 2 more rounds for them to take the map and bring us into the third map of Bind. We are, however, seeing some very, very powerful ultimates online from both sides, as well as Vav only being 1 ult orb away from her own Hunter's Fury. But yeah, both sides here have some really great ultimates. We're seeing Aldi potentially with an overdrive here. Neural Theft from Castley could go huge for info. Bearcats, though, have their Hunter's Fury already for post-plant. Interestingly, though, they're still opting to default. Just waiting and waiting. Now, will Waterloo punish them for this and just stall the plant?
A main is the most important piece of map control on this map, because if you have somebody established on this line that Vav is, that is 2 players you don't need to keep on A, right? You have enough time to get the players there to rotate on in and have enough for whatever it is you want to go for, a flood retake or just a site anchor, anything of that sort. So by having someone established on this line, you are actively winning yourself the game. It's quite funny. See, now you see the rotate come on through, but that's just why the reclear is here from the Bearcats, right? They know this. They know that this space is so, so important. And that's also why you're going to see Vav Owl Drone out short, because if you have short, then you can reclear long, and it just becomes this kind of tic-tac-toe sequence of events type thing where you have to do some other things if your opponents do. Now, Anna, lurking out to sight. This is the first time we've seen a play like this, and it's only a jet, so you have to assume that they are recognizing that this is a fake, and well, they will realize, but maybe a bit too late. Bomb will go down over towards C, but Cassidy's gonna go for the spam, will get the pick, and now you can play plant denial. Sprout will pick up 1 here, but a 4v2, and 1 player still getting very much tagged on down. Sprout finally goes down to the shock, and not enough time. Peaches will have a 1v2, and they just won't give her the fight. Peaches will maybe accept the bomb plant, but no, not even enough time for that.
I talked about this a little bit, but I think, again, Waterloo's finally realized they're doing the same exact thing they did on Sunset. What did we do to counter that on Sunset? deny the plant. I do find the play by Hannah very interesting. I appreciate the creativity here and trying to switch things up a little bit. Um, like you mentioned, though, we saw that Waterloo was able to instantly recognize that it was a fake, was able to punish Hannah for trying to push out onto the A site after inserting herself into short. We are seeing Aldi running up A long yet again.
Oh boy.
Gonna get spotted out by the recon dart from Frosty. Hunter's Fury not quite going to connect on either Haldi nor Valve or Vav.
I mean, and you're going to see them still now in that same spot, right? You've used the Hunter's Fury. You haven't gained any map control off of it. So you could consider that a considerable win for Waterloo. But now you have to have a plan. What is your plan here for this round in this moment? Is it to retake B? Are you forcing those attackers to go B? Because if so, you have the Neon ult, you have that Hunter's Fury for plant denial, but you're just not in range of B. And that's why it's going to be a little bit funky here. As that smoke goes down, you should see Vav rotate on back, have themselves in range of the Hunter's Fury, but they're not yet. It's going to be close, but it looks like the bomb does not go down. The players did not stick it. They decided to say to force the B-Link fight, and they will be victorious this time. It will be the site gain for them and a supreme numbers advantage.
30 seconds left.
30 seconds left. Looks like Bomb is going to successfully be taken down. Sprout just being a nuisance towards ceiling here. Is Waterloo aware of Sprout?
Maybe. Oh, trying to get too much value out of it. Should have just taken the one, but maybe it's also hindsight. Aldi's still aware for that lurk and will grab the pick. But now, no smokes for this retake, so you can't stick the bomb. You can't really spam and hope, as Ave is just there to grab an extra kill, and it looks like there is going to be the forced ultimate on out, which is a win in its own, but it's going to be a tough one. Ave will go down here, and all these just going to have to peek into this crossfire. You got Ji Young saving the rifle, but now it's the first time the Bearcats have seen match and map point.
This is an imperative round for both teams, you know. You're at the side of the Bearcats, you want to be able to take us to a map 3. For the side of Waterloo, you need to get this OT round. Looks like they have been saving some pretty powerful ultimates, though. Most likely going to be seeing Aldi rip that overdrive this round. Eco's a little bit frazzled on the side of Waterloo, feeling it only able to force up to a Sheriff. Meanwhile, the Bearcats are in a really great place. They could technically try to farm Peach's ult here. Aldi running it down C long. We're seeing something new. Able to take down Peaches.
I'm gonna say that looked like me there. It's a compliment, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. Either way, you get the kill, you get out, and that is something you do like to see. But now this is kind of a reflection of what we saw as one of those ecos on the same side for Waterloo is, well, you're going to have to make another risk at some point. You need information somewhere because right now your Cypher is on A, which means you don't have the most important part of the map, meaning you can't play retake from A, which means you need to fight down C. So just anchor the site. Silent stack if you have to. That's going to be your best bet. Just don't give up your advantage. You have the rifle. You have everything you could want. Just make sure you hold it down now.
Sprout and Feeling It just kind of barely missing each other. Sprout able to see the shoulder of Feeling It. Bolt's not quite able to connect. Like we are about to see an execute onto the C site coming out from the Bearcats.
Aldi whips, but still gets the kill, and that's very, very important for them here. Feeling it. The Sheriff is still back sight. Doesn't have a rifle, but the body shot is enough. And a 3v1. Sprout has been found out. And that will be a tie game. We're going to go to OT again. You guys thought this was going to end in regulation? No.
All right. Yet again. More Sunset deja vu. But golly, these teams really love their OT, don't they? But yeah, you know, Waterloo had an incredibly dominant attack half, so let's see if they're able to pull off one of their signature attack rounds yet again during this OT.
Should we just start calling it like it's Sunset too? All right, they're going up A elbow. Yeah, I mean, it really does feel like it. And if that holds true, I mean, that will mean that Waterloo will accept the win no matter how they can get it. It's not going to be the cleanest, of course, but this isn't your map pick. There's only so much you can do. Hannah is in a great spot here, especially with that dart broken, though. It is going to actually give up her position because now they are aware for that. They're accounting for those things. No way they didn't clear. No way the drone doesn't clear. It's still a 1-for-1, but by gosh, that could have been so much worse.
Oh my. Yeah, like you said, 1 for 1, a little bit of a misplay there, from the side of
Eyes
Waterloo.
down.
Hannah, though, locked in, able to punish Castley for that lurk as the rest of Waterloo works their way up towards B. Are they aware that Peaches is already backside, though?
Oh, you have to commit to this fight, but you also have to get this trade somehow, and they will do so. So that's at least an additional play that they can make. And now, A control almost gained, or so they thought, but there is the initial pick, just making it a 1-versus-1. The Breach Ultimate, the Rolling Thunder, it is online, but this is going to be a tough one to navigate here for both players. Neither of them know quite how this is going to end up, but Hannah can just put the outcome on their shoulders and say, hey, I'm going to shoot you in the face. Thank you very much. It's 13-12 for the Bearcats.
Bearcats are one step closer to claiming their first map of the series and bringing us to a third map.
Switching sides.
You know,
Match
things looked a
point.
little hopeful for Waterloo there. It looked like they were about to be able to potentially close that round out, after equalizing it from, I believe that was a 2v4. Unfortunately, not quite able to win the 1v1 from the side of Jiyoung.
Here.
However, not all hope is lost. They can secure this defense round. Alternatively, Bearcats will be looking good, taking us to a third map if they can secure this attack round, which historically, their attack has looked pretty good on this map.
I mean, I think just kind of looking back at that previous round, if you go for maybe a different plant spot, you give yourself more options, especially with that Rolling Thunder, but it's all in the past now. You have to focus at this round in the present. Frosty going to use this Owl drone to clear out A short. Making sure they have that map control for themselves. Bearcats just one round away from stealing away this map. Cassie does spot out a few, and the Cypher has been on defense here for a few times, but ooh, almost walks into the trip. Still, the spam probably wouldn't have been enough. You would have seen the spam back. And this is the A site gained. I mean, the Bearcats are playing this immaculately. They're realizing, hey, wherever the Cypher is, that's exactly where we want to punish because they're not playing aggressive. They don't have the number stack, and now you're forcing the opponents into that funnel like we talked about earlier. This is going to look very rough for Waterloo.
Castley is able to get the first pick of Hannah, though. Peach is able to trade out her teammate. Frosty gets mowed down by the defenders. Aldi getting a first, getting a second. It is now all up to Sprout. And she pull off this 1v3 to secure the map. Vav able to get the final pick. It's 13-13. We are going into double overtime.
And Vav opting not to save their ult for Valorant 2 there. Is going to opt to use it there for funsies at the end. Some confetti, some fireworks, as it is overtime. You can do that. But I mean, still, things we were been talking about with this map of you need to make this adaptation. You need to find a new way to break on through. And yeah, I think that's one way to do it. A timeout. I think it's the right play from Waterloo here because this round is the one that you're kind of struggling with. Is it, okay, we need to attack better, or we need to defend better? And right now, it's just about winning this extra one so you can close it on out for good.
Definitely. And I mean, like you had kind of talked about a little bit at the start of last round, Waterloo was looking really, really good on their attack, or the first round of attack during this overtime. I do think that the plant spot was just a slight blunder on the part of Waterloo, but I think other than that, they did look really, really good. So I am curious to know what their coach is telling them right now, what specific changes to make, because I didn't really see too much other than that plant spot going wrong that first attack round.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about making sure you're reliable with your round wins, right? You don't want to have your situation go from a 4v2 to a 2v2. Eventually, that clutch scenario that you're forcing yourselves in, make it a little bit more comfortable. So I think that with that additional timeout, you kind of just calm the nerves a bit, get them back on track. And for either of these teams here, this timeout does heavily benefit them.
Seeing Hannah pushing up a long issue where she's about to run into all five, able to get the first of Castle. Well, it's not quite able to connect onto the second, as the rest of Waterloo still posted A main, gets a second. Vav finally able to avenge her teammates, though. Now, 4v3 for the Bearcats. Frosty is working up towards that A short. Not gonna spot anyone, though. Gonna have some self-control here. Not give any equalizing picks to the side of Waterloo.
I mean, I do appreciate the fact that they at least went for the re-clear, right? You have to clear out whoever's being a nuisance in that A-long area anyway, because you have to keep those defenders over towards that A site. But now you find yourself in a scenario where you might just be pushing what is the Cypher on this site. And it looks like the shot not quite going to find any value. Just quite yet. It does spot out the Cypher, so there is that. But still one trip remaining. You never know if the trip meant for LeBron James will find the value just quite yet. We'll see. Feeling it. We'll get this bomb down, a 4v3 for the Bearcats. And remember, Waterloo has not had a match point on this map. So this is still something they're searching for. Maybe that's why they called the timeout here, but it is going to be very, very close here, especially with how these shaping up fights are going. Right now, Jiyoung picks up one, but it's just Jiyoung left, actually, and it won't be enough. Just not enough util left in the picture, and the numbers advantage proves to be too much to bear.
We are back up to map point for the
Got mine?
for the side of the Bearcats. 14-13. Yet again, a lot at stake this round. Waterloo can bring us up to triple overtime. Bearcats can win their first map of the series, close things out, bring us to that third map of Bind. Gosh, the stakes are so high here for both teams. And both teams, you can tell, are just really, really putting their 100% effort into everything. Castle is whipping out an Odin. We have not seen that yet this entire game.
I don't know if I like that. Because
We'll see.
although Castle was getting it taken advantage of on the A site, they were also still holding their map control down. Oh, this is that was fun. A little bit of a hi there, how you doing? But yeah, I think that the Odin just is going to enhance the problem of, well, I'm anchoring to my setup. And when you see them rotate off, now you have to swing in. It's still going to these retakes almost 9 times out of 10. So I wish just to see a full fight on site from the defense here, right? At Waterloo, if they just anchor back site, if they have the right information, they should find themselves being successful.
Bearcats opting to go for their very signature default heavy playstyle on this attack round. Bomb is being pathed into garage. Actually opting to not leave their Cypher as the lurker, but rather their breach. Cypher trip does get taken down. That is going to make Waterloo aware of these players in garage. Cage is going to come out. Aldi holding this, though. Ready for Hannah.
Ooh.
Hannah, though. Aim is just better.
Here comes the Odin. Let's see if it provides any sort of value. Not quite yet. Feeling it. Gets a dink, but not a kill. That's unfortunate for them, but a spam kill for Castle. It's nice, but it's not enough. Ave picks up 2, has the overheal, has the glove ultimate, and now it's just down to Vav, and it's not going to be enough. It's going to be a 15-13 overtime win. The Bearcats stay alive, and we move on to Bind.
Yet another OT game. Oh my, we are 2 for 2 right now. Speaking of 2 for 2, that was double overtime, not just single overtime. Oh my gosh, this whole series has been so neck and neck, and the underdogs of the Bearcats were able to ultimately triumph over Waterloo. So, really great from them. I would love to know what they were talking about during those timeouts that was helping them lock in, because it looked like we were going to be seeing a repeat of Sunset for a bit. You know, we saw the Bearcats win the pistol, win the force, Waterloo start stomping, and then the Bearcats just come back. They just lock in for a bit. It's very, very interesting to see.
It almost makes me feel like kind of Waterloo is very strat based, and then on the opposite side you have very emotion based, right? Hannah just exploded onto the second half of that game. I don't know what it was, but whatever that was, can we have more of it on at least Sunset previously or and now Bind? Because I would like to double dip on that. That was enjoyable to watch, and I really hope that we can see things like that. But Bind is completely different from these first two maps. It's no heavy mid area. Let's default around. It's nope. Doesn't matter how much you poke and prod. Everybody will be there at the snap of a TP.
Yeah, well, we'll just have to see how Vine plays out after this break. And welcome back to the Aurora series. I'm Lil Hoppa. I'm joined here by the lovely Ari Cast.
Hello,
And
everyone.
we are headed into a super exciting map 3 here. Final map of the series. This is the first round of lower brackets in playoffs, so stakes are an all-time high. We saw the underdogs of the UC Bearcats just win in double overtime on Haven against the University of Waterloo after already a very neck and neck overtime first map. So headed into this third map, stakes could not be higher. Players could not be more antsy in anticipation of this. I mean, Ari, do you have any thoughts on this?
I mean, with this, all I can think of is I don't know if I'm happy or sad if this goes to an OT. Because on one hand, we get to finally figure out who the winner is, and we don't have to wait, the nail biting 40 rounds where there's thrifty to thrifty to thrifty. But at the same time, that's also what makes Valorant fun. That's why it's entertaining. That's why those mistakes and those crazy strats come in. It's because it sometimes will go the distance. Looks like this time, though, as we head into Agent Select, we are going to see double controller. So comp switch ups for both sides. Feeling it is locked in the Viper. What is your pick? What's your take on Viper before I expose my vendetta?
All right, so I love Viper on Bind. However, when you do double sentinel, or sorry, double controller, when you have that Viper and then you have typically a Brimstone, sometimes an Astra or a Clove, you typically forego the Sentinel. That's kind of the trade off there. You go double Sentinel along with a double Initiator because Viper has that stalling power that you would normally get from a Sentinel and has that lurking capability that, yet again, would typically go to a Cypher. So I do find it very interesting that they are still keeping the Cypher and going for just solo Sky, solo Neon, just because I feel like double Initiator has just been the prevalent meta for, I guess, the last episode, really.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like that. And with this Viper pick as well, you kind of have to imagine, okay, so you've been playing heavy retake and that hasn't been working. Are you going to completely change up your play style now to go to this face checking for information type beat? Because really, that's what you're relying on. You had the Cypher last map on Haven that you were just playing for retake or for maybe a free pick here or there, but you were never given it. What makes you think that they're going to start giving it to you now? Right? That's just my thought process, right? I mean, we'll have to wait and see as the comps are adjusted. That double dog comp for the Bearcats here with the Sky and Fade, although it is Fade Cats, I still call it the double dog just because, but the Cypher is still the staple of Sentinel here as well. Interesting that it's on the double controller side, but again, maybe they've got something cooked up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Waterloo going for the comp that they chose is definitely a little bit gambly. I think that they're hoping to secure as many defense rounds as possible here, just
Mm-hmm.
because they have such a defensive comp. One thing I do want to point out with the compositions is I love that Waterloo has been going with the neon, and in contrast, we've been seeing the Bearcats go for the more traditional duelist on every map. So that Raze and the Jet. We are seeing Bearcats defaulting on their attack half. Nothing new.
You could say that again, and you could show me that again, and again, and again, and again. But hey, it's working. So we got to give them credit, right? You got to work the map, especially on places like Bind. And there's a reason why there's two types of teams, whether it's the PRX heretics of we're just going to run it down and make sure we get the value out of everything, or if it's, the NRG, current NRG style of, well, I'm FNS. I'm going to make sure that I think everything through before doing it. Frosty will pick up the first here as the shots finally do come through. Aldi still anchoring down in lamps, though, and on a pistol round, they do actually have to clear this out. Sprout, though, just gets the best of them. Right clicks, though, by Hannah, and does get one, but traded on out. Have full HP, doesn't want to swing this angle because that would be 150. But Vav will also go down towards CT, and you will see the team ace for the Bearcats, and they're going to find themselves another pistol. Huh, feel like we've seen this before.
Oh my. Ari, I think we're seeing the prophecy of yet another OT game happening in the
Well,
works.
you have the script, you tell me.
Oh, yes, I forgot. You know what? The last page is scribbled out, actually.
What?
That's a shame.
It's no fun.
I
Wait, you're telling me you
know.
didn't read the last page first before reading the first page of the book?
No, I want it to be a little surprise. And
Okay.
speaking of surprises, it looks like we're actually seeing what might be the first five-man rush from the Bearcats this entire series. As we are seeing what looks like just a five-man rush through B Long out onto the B site.
And as I personally have started to play this map over and over, I kind of realized the importance of belong and the ability to just kind of slam that and then retake hookah, because there's only so much that those defenders can do right now. Castley and everybody, they're pinching this short area, and that's great, but all they pinch is a Cypher cam, no picks to be shown for, and now you have just one person pushed up in CT. Good luck, Vav. That's all I gotta say towards you. You kind of have to beat everybody here. Oh, the initial shot lands, but unfortunately the follow-up does not. Frosty's been clean with it recently, and here comes the flood on out. Hasley's is trying to run towards the bomb and hope for something, but now caught in dog is Ji Young, and well, Sprout will clean that up as well. Converting on the pistol yet again, and the times keep repeating themselves.
I hate to say this for, I guess, what would now be the fifth time this entire series, but finally seeing we're finally seeing rifles bought from the side of Waterloo, and we're seeing the Bearcats bonusing. However, the Bearcats are in a phenomenal position here economically. I mean, not only do they all have enough to buy for next round, but we have 3 Bulldogs, a Guardian, and a Vandal with full shields. Are you kidding me?
I don't know if it's too early to tell, but I want to say that this Waterloo side does not feel very practiced on this map. Like, it definitely feels like they've just picked the comp to try and play the meta here. They, they have an understanding of it, right? They have the fundamentals on lock, but they got them through map 1 and it stretched out map 2. But here, it feels like there really is a solid plan for the Bearcats, and you're going to know that they're working this map time and time again. Eventually, you're going to see them take a few more advantages. Valve will go down there off an ambitious swing, and sure, you got some smoke still alive in terms of that resource, but that's about it. You've gone down and you haven't gained any other advantage. Oh.
That Skydog is going to be able to spot out too inside of that Colo smoke. The Bearcats are opting to play all 5 on site, trying to prevent a flood from the side of Waterloo. Speaking of which, Aldi able to get to Castley, does get taken down. Aldi getting traded out, and ultimately Hannah and Frosty able to just close the round out, just mowing down the remaining players on the side of Waterloo. And we're finally seeing some deviation here, Ari.
I was gonna say, what? We see a bonus conversion? Nah, somebody pinch me. This isn't real, right? Oh, okay, I see what's happening. We're gonna get a thrifty on the next round because they made a mistake, so they're gonna give it right back. Okay. I mean, hopefully that's not the case. And personally, to me, it feels like the Bearcats really are in control of this map. I think they have this one on lock. I could call it right now and say 13-5 if they played like this for the rest of the game. Is it gonna be like that? I don't quite know, and that I don't have 100% faith in.
Skydog is going to be able to spot out Aldi with that shorty. We have not seen the overdrive get activated yet, which is a little surprising. Bearcats slowing things down again, in contrast to the rushes that they've been doing for the past 2 rounds. Showstopper is going to come out from the Bearcats. Hannah is looking for someone.
Oh.
Is able to pick off Ji Young. Beautiful shot. Aldi posted up in U-Haul with a shorty.
Oh no. Oh no.
Standoff here between Sprout and Aldi. Overdrive does finally come out. Able to take down Sprout. Not quite able to get the second just yet. Gets a second, gets a third. All down to Ave on the side of the Bearcats.
Did I call it or did I call it?
Maybe you're the one with the script, Ari.
I'm not gonna spoil anything. But there you go. I mean, trends are trends for a reason, and it's based off information and fact and results from before. Aldi pops the overdrive and finally gets the value that we've been hoping for on this busted character called Neon, but it really does manage to get them a round win here. Aldi holding down that lamp space, and that's kind of the most important part, right? Because you're the Bearcats, because you have that gun by, you know you can't just walk into lamps because they're going to have some shenanigans in there. So you have to have at least 2 members when you do that. Even then, still a risk. And Aldi finally capitalizing on that previous peak, excuse me, the previous round.
Bearcats holding a high-low outside of showers, trying to get a pick off of Aldi. His aggression is going to force Aldi to fall back. What do you know? Bearcats are running yet another default, but hey, it's working for them. They're up 1 and 3 right now. They're able to take control of both orbs on the site, which is huge in terms of ult economies. They do have Seekers online. I am curious to see if they choose to invest those this round. Smokes and Fade Eye getting thrown questionably onto the B site. Castley is still anchoring this down.
Kind of looking back at it, you also realize the one round that Waterloo have won here, it's actually the one round where the Bearcats didn't fully default or show any presence be main. Just wanted to point that out there.
I've got your trail.
Teleports coming out from the Bearcats. 30 seconds left. Feeling it in Castley. Able to get one. Castley gets two. Feeling it gets two. All down to Abe, who gets taken down by Castley, and that is just a Viper Cypher stall wombo combo if I have ever seen one myself.
Yeah, that felt about right. And I do want to talk about the role of the initiators kind of in this game. Like, you know, Bind is a little bit more initiator heavy where it's, okay, we need more info than we do flashes, although flashes are nice for the BXQ, the AXQ. Really, you should be able to get up to maybe lamps if you have a Viper or something like that, or even just the hard pressure to front sight. You don't necessarily need to push back sight with more than 1 or 2 flashes. We've seen the initiator role over the series kind of be kind of the bottom of the leaderboard, and that's okay, right? You're not needed to be that crazy fragger, but it is that question mark of, okay, well, how much value are we actually hoping for? Feeling it is in a situation here and will manage to get out. Very, very scary, but definitely could have been round turning for sure.
Well, there's some good damage there with that Viper Molly. Seeing a lot of utility invested by the Bearcats. Castley is able to take down their entry of Hannah, though. They're hitting those Cypher trips, that Feeling It and Castley are both able to play off of so beautifully. Vav is able to take down Peaches. It's a 5v2, all down to Frosty and Sprout. Both with Sheriffs, I believe. I don't think Waterloo is aware of Frosty, who's able to take down Feeling It.
Yeah. That's just going to be cleaned right on up. And once again, we point out the time that they don't default is the time that is completely dismantled because of this defense and because of the heavy stall that's available. If you don't bait out the fuel, the util, even break any of those Cypher trips, you're going to start to see that favorability for you as the attacker start to diminish. And sure, you have some ults here to work with, but you're going to need the default. And I hope they do realize that, because as much as a slow game might be boring to some, it's what they need to do in order to get the victory. And if Bearcats can win, you're going to do it however you can.
Definitely, we are seeing that double Sky Flash showers at the start of the round yet again. Hannah investing that Boombot to try to clear this space out, securing that ult orb. The Bearcats are doing a beautiful job of working the ult orbs on this map.
And that's why you also see them managing to grab a few rounds away. And when they do end up in those clutch scenarios, they have the right resources for it, right? Because they're hitting the correct site with the right elements, you manage to get yourself a guaranteed advantage almost every time because of what Waterloo is giving you. So props to them there, but this is going to be yet again another default combined with that Nightfall now coming on through. Didn't quite tag Aldi here, so there is a timing in this Lamps area. Stunned on out. Here's the spam down to 1 HP. That doesn't confirm the kill, though, so you will have the bomb going down.
Both Prowlers out from the side of the Bearcats. Fab able to get the first to initiate that retake, taking down Hannah. Frosty is able to get Castley, though. Now a 4v4. Side of the Bearcats are all kind of playing on the A side here.
It's just so tough here in this scenario. I mean, you have the not dead yet popped, but now it's just the not dead yet. And with 3 players staring at you as well as a Clove on the other side, you should have the defuse coming through, and that it will. It's going to be an orb towards those Sky Seekers yet again, but another round for Waterloo to kind of continue the trend we have been seeing now. Although there was a bonus round conversion with the Thrifty, we're still seeing that big streak-esque gameplay here.
Speaking of thrifties, the Bearcats are being forced onto an eco here. All 5 members purchasing sheriffs. So you're the side of Waterloo. I mean, if you're the side of Waterloo here, you know, you have a very out of control economy right now. You know the enemies are going to have 5 sheriffs. I mean, are you playing conservatively? Are you going for something risky just for funsies? I mean, what are you doing here, Ari?
I feel like it's not about what I would do here, but it's about what the Bearcats would do here. And what would they do? Default, regardless of the situation. I mean, there's a Viper's Pit now to work with, and although that's something more additional, you still have to kind of work your way through. And honestly, my philosophy with the Viper's Pit is if you're on eco, absolutely run into there. That is free map control that you can gain by contacting. You're giving a close range engagement to the other team on an eco with possibly a shorty. Absolutely, I want to take that fight. The Bearcats, I think, in my opinion, should probably work towards this Viper's Pit, but of course they have to get through the Cypher trip, and that's the layers to the reliability, if you will, of this defense.
I do love the Viper ult in Hookah because that is denying the side of the Bearcats, you know, being able to run in there with shotguns. Castley not quite able to get one off of that first trip. Feeling it is able to get out the lurker of Sprout. She peeks out of her Viper's Pit briefly. Bearcats have successfully taken the A site. 4v5 for the side of the Bearcats. Waterloo already prepped outside of B for this retake. We are seeing the Seekers coming out from the side of Waterloo as they go into this retake. Feeling it's able to get a third, and Vav gets the other 2, closing the round out for Waterloo. Is now 5-3 in favor of the University of Waterloo.
Yeah, and that one there is just beautifully played by Waterloo, right? I mean, as much as you want to say that, oh, the Bearcats could have done this, that, they're out on eco. They really should not ever win that round. I mean, statistically, right? That's kind of the whole point of not having good guns to shoot them in the face with. But I think that if those teams played like we saw in that round and these mistakes weren't being made, right, we'd see the overtime again, but in a different fashion where it is just going blow for blow, round for round. But we're not. We're seeing that multiple rounds are being won in succession. And that could be a way to open up this game, right? If you're the Bearcats and you manage to grab one, you have to take it for an extra few rounds. Otherwise, if it's gone right back, now you're looking at a heavier deficit yet again.
A little bit of adaptation here from the University of Waterloo. Players are not aggressing showers off the rip like they normally do, instead waiting out to see if Frosty throws a flash, which he does not this round. Frosty dogs into U-Haul, Hannah following it up with the double satchel, and the Bearcats have successfully inserted themselves onto the A site. Aldi deep in showers.
Heard that.
Spots out Sprout to get the first pick of the round as the bomb does get tapped. Vav able to successfully kill the potential planter of Peaches there. Hannah does get Castley. It is now a 4v3 in favor of Waterloo.
Still very doable, though, for the Bearcats. They have that showstopper available. Ave, though, I don't like you smoking in a wide open angle, even though you might have the bomb and map control. So they are going to get out of dodge. Take the TP. Ahead spotted, but Hannah will also eventually hit the TP, and you will have Feeling It here. Still on the site. The Molly to stall as well, isolating the fight on the left side, and that just provides enough time for the opponents to rotate on in. I get that rotation through. The Not Dead Yet is popped, but it's still the round win for Waterloo.
The 6-3 half for Waterloo, you know, things look a little different on the scoreboard, but Ari, dare I say I'm getting a little bit of deja vu here.
What's the, like, double of deja vu? Like, treja vu? Like, when something happens 3 times? I don't know. Scientists in the viewers, let me know.
Seeing the Bearcats forced onto yet another eco round. They do, however, have some very good ults here to take site. I mean, they have the Showstopper on Hannah. They have the Seekers from Frosty. I'm not quite sure if they're going to want to invest them on a save round, but they do have those available at their disposal if they choose.
Mass hit here. Oh boy, Aldi is going to be swinging in here to 2. Anthos managed to get out. The showstopper misses, but Hannah still manages to stay alive here. And is the only map control for the Bearcats ends up being Showers. They do have the bomb, a neural theft if they wish, and some guns. So honestly, not the worst result when you're on an eco of sorts. Castley, though, with a neural theft per round, and it becomes kind of that stalemate of, well, whoever uses it first now has the more stale info, because eventually you're going to be able to pop this neural theft if you hear some pressure over towards B, and you'll be able to know if this is a fake or not. Hannah looking for maybe the initial contact here. The cam's still available, I believe, but the question is where. And it looks like Hannah will keep on taking these angles, clearing close. Vav also very close. You're going to see the swing off the contact, and there it is. Vav with the first, and there's the cleanup. It's just like clockwork for when this team can really get in rhythm.
Great teamwork from Vav and Cassie there. I mean, able to play off of each other beautifully. Phenomenal off angle from Vav, and also feeling it. I love how proactive feeling it has been this whole game. I mean, you know, I appreciate that Waterloo is not just keeping a hard anchor on one side necessarily. They can recognize that, you know, they have Cypher Trips there to stall. They have feeling it kind of floating back and forth between the two sites, able to play off of her own utility, able to play off of Casley's utility if needed on the B site. So it's interesting because I do agree that it looks like Waterloo was not, at least in those first few rounds, as rehearsed as the Bearcats, but I think they've kind of really found their groove now.
I mean, let's also keep in mind, though, the fact that we were kind of saying, oh my, first of all, hello, that's a free pick over towards Showers. But, you know, kind of the things where this is a defense-sided comp, right? You gave up the 3 rounds at the beginning. Was that too much, right? Were those growing pains going to cost you this map and potentially the whole series and your tournament life? It's always a possibility. Feeling it, though, ending up with themselves, just kind of hanging out towards hookah. Spots one out here, and there is a timing where maybe they get swung, but no, getting out of dodge, just resetting here as you do have numbers.
50 seconds left on the clock. Not much has been happening so far. Seeing very typical of the Bearcats. They are pushed up towards B, though. Will they go for this B hit? 35 seconds left. We're seeing the paint shells come out to clear backside. We're seeing that fade tether come out as well. No hard execute yet, as Feelin' It is able to take Sprout down. 25 seconds on the clock. Can the Bearcats get the bomb down on this B site?
There's a contact, there's the tag, there's the swing on through. Hannah goes down a 4v2, and I mean, Feelin' It has done so much there by just playing that ring around the Rosie game. Aves gonna get the first, but heals on up, and remember, there's only 2 here. You need to get the bomb down. Peaches goes down, and that will take away any sort of hope of taking this round home. It's gonna be Aldi with the final kill, but I mean, this is a dominant defense. That's great. How's the offense look? That's still my question mark.
Well, my takeaway from this, you know, I was thinking about this the past round. How you're talking about, you know, were those first 3 rounds too much to give up? We saw both teams on both maps had such a dominant attack half, and defense was where they struggled. So I think that it was actually very smart from Waterloo here to go for such a defense-heavy comp, and we saw that they picked up that the strategy to counter the Bearcats' very defaulty playstyle was to stall the plant, and they picked a comp with a Viper and a Cypher that could successfully stall a site and stall a push really effectively. So I think that this comp is going to pay off for them. I don't think that they're going to have any problems attacking, because their attacking has been phenomenal all series.
I hope you're right in that regard. Castley trying to get this trip down. Fade Haunt broke in compared with the Nightfall. Should go on through and should find value, but unfortunately not. Just all of that util broken. The Sky Seekers as well. That's a lot of information util that has just been dumped into the defenses just to get the bomb down. No picks. You have to feel good about that if you're the defense, but now there's where the picks start to come through because of that information. Aldi now the last one remaining, and this is going to be a tough one for you as you have to peek into a crossfire and can only look one way. It's going to be Aldi going down. Frosty with 3, and does the Clove live? Oh, the Clove lives. How nice.
Great round from the Bearcats. We did see a little bit of a switch up there from their typical defaulty playstyle. They decided to hard hit with that Fatal, which I love to see. That being said, Waterloo did save themselves from the 9-3 curse. So you know, we're finally going to get a chance to see this super, super defense-sided comp finally take on the attacking half. So we're going to see how this plays out. I personally think that the comp will work out in favor of Waterloo. The Bearcats, though, have an interesting setup going on here, having 3 players in hookah and having their Cypher set up on that A site.
What do you think? That's the weird setup? Look at Waterloo. They've
That
got
is
4
true.
going towards B-Long. This could be the most scrappiest fight I've seen in a long time, especially in a pistol. And they're going to get a free pick on the Sky because she's stuck in dog. Castley will get one. No, the dink isn't enough combined with the body shot because of the shield's bot. That is 2 gone from, wow, the Waterloo here, and that is insane. The fact that this pistol round is where we're at, just like that.
Fiona is able to get the bomb down in that safe plant that is going to force the players of Waterloo to play on site. Seeing a bit of a site flip here as players of the Bearcats are retaking from T side. Aldi able to get a first, gets a second on Ave.
Whoa!
All down to Hannah now on the side of the Bearcats.
Double swing? Oh my gosh. There's no way they've just converted that round.
Criminal activity from Waterloo. Aldi. Beautiful, beautiful flick onto that player in Garden. I mean, flawless aim, truly.
You know, call this next thing that I'm about to say a caster curse or a caster prediction, but either way, I feel like because that round went the way it wasn't supposed to go, we're going to see Hannah get a 3K with a Sheriff here and just thrifty. I hate to call it, but like that's the vibe that this game gives off. Whenever a team loses a round they maybe shouldn't have, they play so much more diligent, and that's great. But imagine, right? Imagine the world that they get both the rounds and then they find themselves, you know, in a solid scenario.
We're going to see if your prediction plays out. Ji-Young's dog is going to hit that Cypher trip. No players to follow up and break it. Or, I stand corrected, Aldi followed it up and broke it. Aldi inserts herself into U-Haul. A little bit risky. Risk does pay off as she gets Abe and gets Hannah as well.
Ooh.
Vav able to step in, help her teammate out, getting Frost. Looks like we might be seeing a flawless round here as it is all down to Peaches in this 1v5, and that is a flawless round for the University of Waterloo, and that's going to take them to double digits, one step closer to series point and to advancing to the next round of playoffs.
As much as I want to believe it, I don't buy it yet. It's 10-4, and you would think, wow, one team has the lead. I don't feel like it yet. It really doesn't feel like it, because the Bearcats, they have the ability to just turn it on, especially Hannah, who we know has just been able to grab 3Ks, 4Ks out of nowhere. Just any of these players, really. Frosty has been having a great map. I think that swap over, I think they were on the Sova before, now to the Sky, gives them a little bit more to work with, especially now as they have some additional flashes to play with off of themselves. Here's the trade of utility towards B-Long, and it will allow for Waterloo to gain space. They'll note the trip it is there, and note where the dog has been broken from, but that's about all you're going to get in terms of space.
Seeing some fast rotates come out from the side of the Bearcats. Despite Waterloo not fully committing, Castley worked up showers. We are seeing a hard anchor of Hannah on the A site as well.
Timing, I think there was a spot there, and Castley just still gets the pick. Hey, that's a deja vu from Sunset if I've ever seen one. Because Castley's back to lurking, that feels about right. Ji-Young, though, picks up a kill, and now we're starting to see the picks go the way of Waterloo. Granted, this is their bye round, but you'd certainly like to win this as cleanly as possible so you can go into the next having a very healthy bye. Dave, just popping that metal over towards Triple, trying to get any sort of free pick that they can, but the Cypher Cam will spot them out. Frosty trying to insert themselves a little bit forward. Bait set up in U-Haul, and this should be wraps for the Sprout, and it will be. Frosty picks up one with a wall bang, but a tough crossfire to jump on into. There's the running gun from Aldi, and it's good for one, but time is going to be played now. So although it's not clean, you should at least secure the round win. Feeling it. is gonna whiff the shots and time running low. You really do need to swing off the half here. You need to get the kill. You need to spray this person down. There is time. Is there no point? Oh, 9.
That is the closest round we have seen all series. I mean, commendable effort from both parties, but Waterloo able to secure the third round, able to convert that bonus, and that's going to be detrimental if you're the Bearcats. I mean, that round was so imperative for them to win. They're now being forced onto sheriffs, which not to not to cast or curse anyone. We've seen
Yeah.
more than enough thrifties this whole series, but things are not looking too good for them right now. Hannah pushes up into short, does get stunned off the rip. Waterloo
I
is
like
being
that.
very disciplined, just kind of runs away though. But I like
Keys.
that as well.
Yeah, as much as you want to go for that kill, and at first, my first instinct was, "Oh, they're stuck in the corner. Let's go shoot them." But when you think about it, there's 3 players there. You don't want to go for that. However, a short space being gained. This would be a huge read if they slam the TP here. Off of this trip break, they should be slamming the TP. But no, Frosty gets a pick, and this is starting to spell things we might have seen before. Castley does manage to trade it out. Here comes the triple flank on through. They have broken one trip, so everybody is aware that there could be a flank. They just don't know from where. Now, Hannah picks up an extra, makes it a 3v3. Peaches reveals the hookah hand. They have noted should be in the smoke as somebody was back sight and now is spotted out with the Prowler. There's the tap on the bomb initially. Feeling it. It's going to swing on out. There's a trade or a few, and Hannah with the rifle has a 1v2 to deal with. Make that a 1v3 because the Clove ultimate. And Hannah knows this. She has got to push on up earlier, take the more aggressive angles, and she just can't. She can't afford to really save this either because they need the round. They don't want to play for OT, but Vav will land the shot and will put Waterloo on series point.
All right. Will we? Will this be it, Ari?
I do believe it this time. I do.
All right. Well, hopefully for the sake of the Bearcats, this is not it. But Waterloo series point, like you talked about, again, stakes could not be higher. This is what's going to keep them afloat in this tournament, and it's going to send the Bearcats packing home.
Let me rephrase. Do I believe they're going to win this round, Waterloo? Not necessarily. But do I think the Bearcats have it in them to bring back 8 rounds? That I don't know. Especially now as you've just been gifted 2 picks if you're Waterloo, and what is essentially a third.
Whoa.
Okay. Jiyoung got the kill. That's great. Anyway.
There's a neural theft online. For the side of Waterloo, they see that the Bearcats have left B relatively open. Alti able to dodge the trip. Pops that not dead yet. Vav is just spraying and praying with that overdrive. Frosty able to get one. Aldi able to trade out. 4v2 in favor of Waterloo. Viper's Pit is down for post plant.
And I might not believe it before, but I do now. A Sprout and their teammate just trying to get any sort of inkling of hope, but it's taken away from them. Jiyoung will clean it up, and Waterloo will take the series 2-1.
You know, that was the shortest map we've had so far. First map in the series that was not OT, but I think it was still played very well by both teams. I love, love, love the switch up from Waterloo towards the end there. We saw a switch up in the comp, we saw a switch up in the play style. So it was very, very refreshing to see. And, you know, such an exciting series though overall. Again, I applaud both teams. Just making it to playoffs is such an accomplishment in and of itself. So Bearcats, you should still be proud of yourselves. But yeah, I mean, Ari, do you have any thoughts on that map or the series we just saw?
I mean, yeah, you talk about adaptations to specific playstyles, but when you get adjusted to how a team is going to react to your default over and over and over, and then you kind of take that as like stone cold law, essentially when it changes up, when the comp changes up the playstyle, you're like, wait a minute, now we got to redesign our whole philosophy. And that's where you started to see the Bearcats getting tripped up a little bit. They go aggressive a few times they shouldn't have. They maybe slow down times they shouldn't have, and it ends up biting them in the butt. They do manage to, scrape away a few rounds, but it is inevitably a Waterloo victory.
Speaking of a Waterloo victory, we are going to be back after a very short break with one of the players from the winning team of the University of Waterloo, so make sure you stay tuned for that. All right, and welcome back to the first round of the lower bracket of playoffs for the Fall Aurora series. My name is Lil Hapa. I'm joined by Ari Cass as well as the lovely Cassie from the University of Waterloo.
Hi.
All right.
Cassie, who have you got there? Who's that?
This is my friend's cat, Mello. He just woke up from a nap, but he's my biggest cheerleader today. Oh, now he's mad. Oh my god, now he's mad. Okay, I'm back.
All right. So
Yeah.
firstly, you guys had a super dominant bind that third map. First two maps were very close, went into OT and double OT, but did you guys have any specific preparation for bind or any specific protocols in mind?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we do scrim like multiple times a week, so we are pretty familiar on like most maps. But I think the biggest thing that took like the difference for bind is that we were just playing with so much more confidence, and we were just happy to like play for it's elimination match, so we kind of just wanted to play without regrets and like make sure we do the best we can.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me to the next question, which is, the third map went great, but one and two, right? Probably you hope to be a little bit more dominant than it was, especially with your map pick going to OT. So, how does it feel, kind of adjusting to your opponent's style of defaulting? Was anybody getting really antsy? Like, come on, I just want to push them. Like, what were the comms like in those first two maps?
I mean, you could definitely tell like on the second map we were struggling a little bit with their defaulting. They were like kind of pulling us in a way that we shouldn't have reacted. So yeah, definitely like the antsy aspect of it did get to us a little bit on Haven, so unfortunately we weren't able to close it out. But once we realized what we were doing wrong and we just needed to be a little bit more disciplined, we knew we would be able to get fined easily.
Yeah, so talking about Haven specifically, we saw, I believe, 4 or 5 timeouts called throughout that entire was that 28 round map. So, what was being discussed during those timeouts on your team?
Yeah, I think a big thing for our timeouts is kind of just getting the reminder, the reassurance from our coach that like we are a strong team, so there's no need to kind of overreact. Nothing like crazy. Obviously, strats were being called, but it's just like a good breather and a break in between to just remind ourselves like just play discipline, play like ourselves, and we can win the games.
Yeah, we were seeing you, most notably for the lurking on the first few maps. I know that you probably hear that a bunch when it's like, oh, come on, the Cypher's always lurking. What are you doing? But, you have to say that it did find a lot of value. Is there anybody that you kind of studied those lurks off of? If it's just like you, just as a timing, I guess, do you have any VCT inspiration as to who you watch for those setups or whatever? Um, other than Sentinels?
Yeah, of course, my favorite team is Sentinels. My Tens jersey, unfortunately, my goat retired. But yeah, I definitely do watch a lot of VCT. Noya and SR, especially right now with game changes going on. That's my goat. She's on my mouse pad, so big fan of her.
Wow.
But yeah, like I've been playing Senti. It's my main role for like the last few years. It's just comfortable for me to lurk, and yeah, I'm glad it showed impact to you guys as well.
All right, final question before we let you go. Do you have anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I want to shout out all of my friends. My Discord server is named Cat Cafe, and they're all watching. Thank you guys for your support, and the cats behind me that didn't run around the whole time. This whole BO3, I was so happy. Shout out to them.
Well, thanks for being here with us, Cassie. That's going to do it for us today here at the Aurora series for this particular matchup. So we will see you guys next time for the continuation of this bracket. We'll see you guys then. Peace out.
Bye. Thank you.